What's up, guys? In this stream, we're going to be working a little bit more on our horror game. What I have so far with the horror game, if you haven't been following along too closely just yet, is we have this little room right about here. Well, this room is lacking a little bit at the moment, so we're going to be spicing it up a little bit, making it a little bit bigger, kind of expanding on the room a little bit, maybe fixing some lighting, moving around the little obstacles, not obstacles, but decorations inside of here. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty fun. I guess I can start just by duplicating this wall right here, along with all these other walls and windows. This would be probably a good place to start. Just move it. I'm not too sure how big I want to make it, really. I guess a good start would just to be kind of duplicate this over and see how big it is. Maybe like that. That could be too small, maybe too big. That's kind of the thing that I kind of stink at. It's really making things the right size. I don't think this is big enough. Well, that's the thing. I want to make it big enough for a starting room, but I don't want to make it too big that's going to be claustrophobic or. I'm not claustrophobic. I mean the opposite of claustrophobic, where there's way too much space and it's kind of hard to fill it up, something like that. But I think where we have it right now is probably a good place to start, honestly. We just need to rotate it around. This should be about right, if I am correct. All right, this is a good place to start. Next off, I'm going to get rid of this floor. It was really just going to be kind of a simple floor that I was going to replace later simply because I wanted to see what it would look like. However, I'm going to keep this one here because it's got all my settings, like the color and everything, so I'm just going to keep it there. However, we can get to work on actually fixing up the room. The way that I kind of wanted this to be designed is that over right here, there's going to be a door that the player can go through, and that's going to lead over to a hallway and many other rooms that way. However, I want this to be one duplicated and mirrored room. I want it to be different, so we're going to be kind of changing a few things up, if that makes sense. And how I'm going to start is by using a plugin called Archimedes. Archimedes is one of my favorite building plugins. I think it is incredibly useful for certain angles and everything like this. As you can see right here, if I were to click on this render button, it would basically make a new part that is a duplicate of the part I was selecting, but move it at a precise angle like this. And that's what I like about it. It has everything in such a precise angle that is just very easy to work with. Hi, Tall Dark Cat. Thank you for joining the stream. How are you today? I think I want to go at a 45-degree angle. Something like this. Unless, actually, I'm going to delete all that for now. And in fact, I'm going to move all of the furniture out of it. Just going to move all of these things over. I only need to keep one of each thing, which I have all the way back here. And then we should just be able to grab all of this, Control D, move it over, and then rotate it 180 degrees. I feel like that would be pretty cool if we got kind of like the opposite corners right here. That looks like it would be pretty cool, actually. Hi, Carm. Thank you for joining. Cool, Cal. Is the Tycoon series over? No, it is not over yet. I am having a little bit of a difficulty finding out how to make the rebirth system, but that's really the only thing causing a little break in it right now. However, once I figure that out, there definitely will be another episode, or two even. I don't know, there are lots of things I want to add to it. You know how when you join a tycoon sometimes and there will be like certain beams or arrows that seem to like appear out of your player and then they're going to like point you towards the right tycoon. I kind of want to make those too. And then once again, we're going to be adding like rebirths and stuff. I want to be, no, I kind of want to make this one of the most unique Tycoon series tutorial. I feel like we've already achieved that with like the button animations and the data saving, but everything else that we add to it is also going to make it pretty fun and unique. Hi, Mr. Gameplay. Thank you for joining. Hello, John Inc. 03. Thank you. Is this game going to go public? Yes, it definitely will be. Eventually, once it is done. As you can see now, it's not done yet, but I imagine in maybe a few months it will be ready or done. Hopefully, I don't know. Depends on all that we do with it. Oh, hi, Galaxy. My day has been very good so far. How about you? Thank you for joining the live stream so far. Oh, thank you guys. I want to make this look very cool because I think the most realistic games are usually the most fun. Well, not realistic games, but realistic horror games. If there were realistic simulators, I don't think that'd be very cool at all. Alrighty. I'm going to extend this out here a little bit and also extend this over just so that these will line up. The most satisfying thing in Roblox Studio is probably lining up corners exactly. There is not a more single satisfying thing that I know of. Hi, Clipper R2, and hello, Nick is better. Thank you guys for joining. Hello, Ambush Gamer. Hello. The game is going to have monsters. No, the game isn't going to have necessarily a monster. It's going to have a psycho, if that makes sense. I wouldn't call it necessarily a monster, however, although it will be pretty scary. I guess this doesn't need to be absolutely perfect simply because the player is never going to see it. However, it's kind of nice to know that it is pretty nice and perfect. Now, let's see. I want to have a window part over here, probably a few windows. All right, what type of game is going to be like, what's the objective, you mean? All right, so the objective of the game, well, let me go over the story, not story, but the plot of the game first. What's going to happen is you're going to wake up in this little starting room, and it's going to be the start of an asylum. So you're going to go through this asylum, and you got to kind of find the way to escape, and you've got to find all these different like keys, parts, all these different power-ups or whatever. And then you've got to eventually find a way to escape. And the whole time there's going to be a little creepy guy chasing after you the whole time, and you've got to try and survive. So it's kind of going to be similar to Rainbow Friends in that perspective, but it's going to be completely different. Any advice for upcoming Roblox devs? The main advice that I have for you guys is to always keep on learning, like continually. I don't know if you guys know like workout terms or anything, but in working out, there's a term called progressive overload, where basically every other workout, or I think it's every workout. I don't know. I'm not very professional at working out, but I know that every once in a while you want to like either increase your weight or increase the amount of repetitions that you do per exercise. And it's the exact same with learning, especially code. You kind of always want to challenge yourself because that's where you learn the best. So think of something that you don't know how to do yet and then see if you can figure it out. That's one of my favorite things to do. And that's what I've done kind of a few times, like with the Tycoon series. I didn't have an idea on how to make the data stores at first. However, I kind of figured out eventually how to do it, and it's helped me learn quite a bit. So I'm thankful for that. And then more advice that I have is kind of just never give up. If you give up, then there's really no hope anymore. You know, there's not really a future in that if you give up game development. So I would just definitely recommend not doing that. All right. So it's like Piggy. I've never actually played Piggy. However, I know its concept, I can say it's remotely similar, but not at the same time. For one, um, well, actually, yeah, I don't really know everything about Piggy. In the last stream, we kind of talked about how it's similar to Doors and the Backrooms and Rainbow Friends, maybe, but I don't know about Piggy. All right. Yeah, I don't think a player is going to be like, man, the dev made this part. 0.000000001 studs off. You're right. Especially since it's on the outside of the map, it'd be kind of hard to see that, especially if there's going to be like dirt in this corner or whatever. Right. Can I make the monster? You can definitely try if you would like to. It's not necessarily going to be a monster. It's going to be more of like a escaped asylum patient, sort of like a psycho that's going to be chasing after the player. So yeah, I was thinking it might be a little bit difficult to make because it's going to have to be a realistic character model. However, you can definitely try your best. So there's like rooms where you have to find a bunch of clues that match up to each other. That would be a good idea. I haven't actually gotten the full, like, I guess, plot of the whole game yet, sort of the story or the gameplay yet. I kind of want to focus on building the map and getting everything kind of sorted out like that, and then eventually going ahead and making the actual, like, monster and, well, not monster, but I guess antagonist like that. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is just move all of this over a bit so that it all lines up. And instead of doing a window wall, I'm just going to do your average normal concrete wall right here for the corner. All right, what the psycho gonna do? The psycho is mainly going to chase after the player. I don't know if you played a game sort of like Outlast before. That's one of my that's kind of one of the games that I've been thinking of with this whole horror game series so far. It's basically, well, I don't know the whole game. I've never actually played it for myself, but there was this one level or stage on it where the player was in an asylum, and it kind of just stuck with me. And in that game, the psycho was kind of mainly just chasing after the player for a lot of the time. But there are also other things that he's doing that I still need to probably go back and look up on, but I don't want to just take their idea. So I'm also going to be implementing my own things, but mainly, yes, he will just be chasing the player. Oh man. Once again, this part's going to be outside of the map, so this corner doesn't really matter if it's not 100% lined up. Oh, wait, also so that it's realistic. Oh, wait, how about every time you die, it shows a random message, then you wake up in a bed that's like a checkpoint. So every time you die, you won't have to start all over. I thought about that, but really, I don't know if there will be a need for checkpoints simply because it's going to be like a really big map, but it's not going to be too big. I mean, this is the size of the starting room, and I don't, well, I have kind of a little sort of idea drawn up. Let me grab it real quick. Alrighty. So this is my idea so far. I've got the spawn room that's going to be right here. I've got a little hallway leading over here. It's going to lead into sort of like a lobby, and there's going to be like a med bay leading off of it. There's going to be several rooms around the place, like closets, cafeterias. I'm thinking this will be the escape, but it will definitely change, maybe. This whole thing is subject to change, but yeah. This is going to be the entrance to the basement. It's not going to be that small, but that's just the staircase downwards. These are going to be kind of like containment areas, sort of. I guess where the mainly the mental patients were held or so while this asylum was still active. So this is kind of my design for the game so far, but it's still definitely going to change in the future. All right, is it going to be like Friday the 13th game where you find stuff to defend yourself and escape while Jason will be killing you? That does kind of sound similar to what I'm thinking, so It might be that. I've never played that game though, so you will have to tell me. Alrighty. So now everything is kind of matching up here. I really want to fix the floor, but I'm going to wait till the whole thing's done until we do that. So in the meantime, I guess it's just more windows. Gotta keep on duplicating the windows. I don't know if I should add like too many windows though. I don't know if too many windows will throw off the whole vibe for the game, but I don't know. Windows are pretty cool. Just gonna keep on moving these over. This really is kind of a tedious process, but we're almost done. Alrighty, this needs to be moved over a little bit. Do you save your live streams? Yes, I do. I know other people have had like trouble with their live streams before where it notifies people a bunch, but that hasn't happened to me yet. So, yes, for as far as I'm concerned at the moment, I will be saving my live streams. I'm making a game like Criminality. Any suggestions? Well, you could probably take a little bit of inspiration from other games that might have to do with that. Like if your game has features where you have to go maybe rob a bank or something like that, you could take ideas from those like payday games on Roblox, kind of, or maybe games like Ohio or The Hood. Games like that seem to be pretty popular for that type of game idea. So those would be great places to start. And I think this spawn area is actually coming together pretty well overall. I don't know if I really like this concrete part. I may just get rid of it and scale this part across. I feel like that will look a little bit better. Just right here. Yeah, suggestion, make every class free except for the better classes like prison. That is a good suggestion as well. Yeah, mainly just kind of think of your game idea, everything that you want to add for it. I'd recommend kind of making a game plan for it, like how you want to tackle this game, sort of. Like, do I want to work on the weapons first? Do I want to work on the map first? You kind of get an idea like that, and then sort of make an outline of your basic map, sort of like I did with this Asylum map. That'll help you kind of stick to your idea more, and it'll help you from getting distracted. And yeah, that's pretty much it that I have for the building aspect. I have an idea, after we finish the tycoon, can we make a simulator? That would be a good idea. Do you have any ideas for a specific simulator at all? I'm just going to scale this one over all the way here. How would you make a humbuzz sound, kind of like the back rooms? I've never actually played the back rooms, so I'm not too sure what a humbuzz is, but I'll make sure to research that. All right. Yeah, there are so many like different types of simulator ideas that I don't know, sometimes it just kind of gets hard to pick one out of all of them. You know, like you got the pet simulator type ones, you've got the ones sort of like bubblegum simulator or Ninja Legends, you've got plenty of different things. So yeah. You have a tutorial on animations. I was trying to make like a Roblox movie but gave up because I don't know how to save a scene. I don't have any really animate. Well, I have a tutorial on how to animate, but I don't have a tutorial on how to make simple like scenes, you could say. Although I do have a tutorial on cutscenes if you would like to watch that. Hey Rusty, could you maybe someday do a tutorial on how to make a roleplay game, a game like Brookhaven? Sure, I can definitely try that. I'm not too sure how it would go, but we can find out. Mainly what you want to do in like a roleplay game is create a fun environment for the player to hang out with like their friends and everything. So yeah. Tycoon, are we going to add more game passes? Yes, I recommend. Well, I don't recommend, but I think we're going to be adding like an auto collect game pass for the cash collector. And we might go over how to make like little weapon game passes, sort of. That makes sense. Where the player can like step on a little item giver, but it's a game pass item giver, so they have to own the game pass in order to get the item from it. We could definitely do something like that. Oh, I think I've been doing something wrong here. I think what I did was I had a global axis on. There are two different types of axes in Roblox Studio. You've got this one, I think, which is the local axes, and then if you press Control L, it will swap over to the. Wait, no, this one's the local axes. You can tell because of the L, and then this one is the global axes. So I'm gonna switch over to the local one. I need to duplicate this one first. All right. And how about dev products like buy cash? We could definitely do that. Oh, I forgot to duplicate this one over a bit. Dev products seem to be pretty simple most of the time, so we can definitely go over that. The game build is looking good. Thank you very much. What got you into Roblox? Well, back when I first joined Roblox in 2014, it was just one of like the cooler games out there at the time. It was kind of like competing with Minecraft and everything, and all the cool kids were playing it, you know. So mainly I joined Roblox simply because everyone else was playing it, and I thought it'd be pretty fun. However, how I joined Roblox Studio is I think it was just the fact that I loved coding. I started out learning a coding language called HTML, which is mainly what websites use. And while I was looking for tutorials on Roblox, not Roblox, for websites and stuff, I stumbled across Gnome Code, and he had some very, very, very great tutorials for Roblox. And I just kind of learned some scripting from him. I joined with a friend a little bit later, and we kind of made our first game together, and that was pretty fun. And that was mainly what got me into it. And then after that first game I made with my friend, I took a break for a few years and I forgot pretty much everything I had ever learned. But I wanted to make a brand new game, and so that was how I actually made Pineapple Tycoon. Was I eventually found a GamerMate tutorial, I think, on how to make a tycoon, and then I made Pineapple Tycoon out of that. And so Pineapple Tycoon was what actually led me to create my YouTube channel because I wanted to advertise Pineapple Tycoon. And so I built a YouTube channel to post my videos on Pineapple Tycoon. And that's why my first YouTube video is actually a Pineapple Tycoon trailer. I think that's pretty cool. You got bullied for playing Roblox? I'm sorry to hear that. Unfortunately, I don't think Roblox is as cool as it used to be. Back in the good old days, I know pretty much almost everyone I knew played Roblox, so that was pretty cool, I guess. Can you make it like a first person? Yep, we're definitely going to be doing that, and I even have a little mouse icon that I can show you. Let me just hop into a game real quick. You see how my mouse icon changed to a little white circle? So yeah, that's going to be the main icon. It's going to be viewed from this, and you're going to be able to see your body. Kind of like you can see this rig, and sort of like indoors where if you look down, you can see your legs and stuff. So I think that's a pretty cool feature to add. However, it makes it a little bit harder to animate. I guess now we can get to work on the door right here, because this is going to lead into the hallway. I have a question. Would you prefer solo or team development? To be honest, I think I personally prefer single development or solo development simply because I like keeping my workspace organized And sometimes that's hard to do with multiple people, especially if a game has like multiple builders or multiple scripters and everything, and there's one person that never organizes something, or just something goes wrong and the whole thing's not very fun anymore. And it sometimes gets kind of distracting with multiple people working on the same thing. And I personally think it's better for your learning skills if you kind of make a game on your own first, simply because then you get to learn all of the aspects that go into developing a game, and then you'll get to appreciate what other people do more, if that makes sense. Like when you have to build, model, script, and design UI for your game, publish your game, all that stuff, then you really get to, I guess you get to experience what other people are doing. So I think that's just another great thing. However, team development also can be very great in its own type of ways. Why is your Roblox character a llama, or was a llama? Well, I think, I don't know really. A while ago, Roblox had these like competitions or events really that people could join, and they had little prizes that you could get. And there was this one from Disney XD. It was Steve La Llama, and they had made him a little llama hat, and I really just kind of loved that hat. I used it all the time. It was one of my favorite hats. But then as I started incorporating it into my YouTube channel and I realized I started putting it in my thumbnails and everything, I realized that, well, I didn't realize, but I was wondering if Disney would start to come after me and maybe copyright me or something, so I took that off, unfortunately. How many players per server? This is probably going to be a single player game. Mostly, I feel like single player horror games are always the scariest, even though they probably won't get many players simply because people like to play with their friends more. However, I like the eeriness of playing by yourself. You have 2 games published. That is great. Man, I started scripting this year, started to make your tycoon tutorials, ended up doing my first tycoon, then followed some tutorials in dev form. I think I'm pretty good. Thanks, man. No problem. Thank you for following along with the tutorial series. Can you do a tutorial on how to add ads into your games? Well, I know Roblox recently added these almost like billboard sort of things that you can add to your games. I think you really just add in like a part right here, and then you'd add like a click detector in here, and you'd add a little image onto your part, and it'd just have someone else's game on there. And then whenever someone clicks on it, you pretty much just teleport them over to someone else's game. That's pretty much it in a basic understanding. Hello. Maybe you can make a multiplayer version of this game once this one is done. That would definitely be interesting. It probably would get more players. However, making multiplayer games is definitely harder than single player games. So we'll definitely see how this one turns out. I don't really know how much. Is anyone good at Roblox Studio? There are plenty professionals at Roblox Studio. Mainly, the more you practice, the better you'll get. So I'd recommend practicing a lot, learning as much as you can, and once again, try and never give up. I think I'm gonna make this door a little bit smaller, right about here. And then I'm going to actually get rid of this little overlip. We can make ideas for different puzzles. Gameplay is very important to make the game fun. You are absolutely correct. The gameplay portion is definitely the most important part of any game, so we definitely want to make sure it's as fun as possible. I don't really have too many ideas for puzzles, however, you can definitely leave some in the chat. No, I only know how to use the F3X tools. Well, that is definitely a great place to start. These tools are pretty useful. I normally really like this plugin. I use it for almost everything. Well, not almost everything, but I use it for a ton of stuff. And I think it's definitely one of the more useful plugins out there, so it's definitely great. I'm going to apply a material variant I made a little while ago, and it just basically makes this into metal right here. Are there gonna be like different abilities like sprinting and or crouching? Yes, there definitely will be. I feel like sprinting is a great way to avoid the monster, and crouching is a great way to add more, I guess, depth to the game, maybe. Why do you think many Roblox games fail? Well, most of it has to do with the people playing the Roblox game. I know some people don't like to play certain games. Like, for me, I don't really like to play simulator games all that often. I don't really see a point to them. However, I see how some people think they're incredibly satisfying or they're just fun games, really, overall to play. Another reason games fail is because the map isn't interesting or the scripting isn't really that great, and there isn't really too much to do in the game, and they just get bored. And other reasons why they fail is simply because people don't find your game. Sometimes Roblox doesn't really push it out to people. So yeah, those are all ways that people's games fail. Logos and design. You can help with the logos if you'd like to, unless that is what you're good at. Can you add me? Sure, just send me a friend request. I'll see what I can do. Games die easily. That they do, unless you have a very, very good gameplay loop. Other times they really can last quite a while. Can I make the monster? Yes, sure. You can definitely try your best at it. Once again, it's not really a monster. It's more of a psycho, though. So that is one thing to keep in mind. However, you can try your best. Should we make story games or could we make story games? Yeah, you definitely can make story games. I don't think they're mainly too relevant nowadays, unfortunately. However, they used to be very, very popular, and even some are very popular now, like Break In. You know, that one's a really popular one. You should add a purple Skittles reference. I'm not too sure where I would add this unless we put it like on the receptionist desk or something, but that is a pretty cool idea. What do you think is better, realistic or low poly? Okay, this is the question. The long waited question has been long waited for quite a while. The war between realistic and low poly has been going on for quite a while. I personally prefer low poly games over realistic games. To be honest, I'm kind of squeamish. I can't handle many horror games very well. I never really tried to play games like FNAF or something because they're just a bit too scary or frightening for me. However, some people really get a kick out of those. I much would rather prefer to play like tycoon games or cartoony games, sort of, but that's just my preference overall. Is this like Hotel California, sort of? Not necessarily. I think that's a song, right? Yeah, I believe it is. And one question: what is an asylum? An asylum is basically a mental ward or sort of like a hospital for people that have mental issues. Unfortunately, some people do have some sort of diseases or issue that makes them think differently or something that makes them think not normally, if I can say that. And some of these people get sent away to places that they can be protected from other people and even from themselves sometimes. And that's where they get landed in places like sort of a hospital or something. And that's what an asylum is, in all honesty, pretty much. At what age did you start becoming famous as a developer? At the moment, I'm not famous. Not yet, at least. I hope one day to be, maybe. That would be pretty cool. However, I'm not too stressed about it. The game Purple Skittles, by the way. Oh, I've never played Purple Skittles. I feel like I'm missing out on so many games. An idea for the monster, do kind of like a Russian sleep experiment model. That would be pretty cool. We could definitely do that. Can we collab? What would you like to collab on? Sent you a friend request. All right, I'll see if I can accept that right after the stream. Okay, Purple Skills needs more recognition. I'll definitely have to play that game or at least research it and see what you're talking about. Okay, what age did you learn scripting and design, etc.? Well, first off, I learned HTML originally, I think at 13, and I mainly got into Roblox Studio, I think maybe 13 and a half or 14, if I had to imagine. But it did come out in 2016. Alrighty. Lots of games did come out then. A survival game, do you think that will get famous? It really depends. I haven't really seen many survival games on Roblox recently, but I know games like Booga Booga did absolutely amazing. So yeah, and mainly if you believe your game can do good, then you can probably try and make it do good, and you can make it do good. You gotta have that really like champion mindset though. You gotta really believe that your game isn't gonna fail. I'm trying to line this up as best as I can, but this sometimes the increments are too precise, or sometimes they aren't precise enough, and there's just all sorts of problems. Ready? Yeah, so survival games, I've played Booga Booga a little bit. That's really the only survival game I've played on Roblox, but there are definitely many popular ones like Apocalypse Rising, Apocalypse Rising 2. So yeah, survival games are definitely great. You're very good at scripting and doing models. Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a bit of practice though, so but I wouldn't consider myself very good at it just yet. All right, so I have an obby and it's about 126 visits and about 500 Robux made from it. Do you think it has a chance of becoming famous? It definitely has a good chance. So far, you've got a very high Robux to visit ratio, and that is always a good thing. I imagine you probably have very well, not very, but you probably have a good amount of game passes in there, so that would be a great place to start. And once again, a game becoming famous, sometimes it's chance, but it also has to do with skill. You know, like it really depends on how great your game is, how fun it is, what the game loop is, and that's what determines how long players stay in your game, why the players are in your game, all sorts of stuff like that. I'm gonna change the color of this, I think. I don't know, let's see. Kind of like a grind. Let's see. I feel like that's a bit too dark. Just gonna mess with some colors here. Let's try 93, 93, 0. That's also too dark. I don't know. I might leave it like this. Maybe. Thank you for helping me animate on Roblox Studio. No problem. Thank you for learning how to animate on Roblox Studio. What age you started scripting? I believe I started back when I was about 14 or so. So that was a while ago. Anyways, gonna bring down this part right here. Now, I'm gonna give you guys a little tip here, is that whenever you can add detail, definitely try to add detail. It helps improve your maps by so much. Like this little lip that I'm about to add right here, although it's barely noticeable, it's gonna help a ton. Sort of like this. Especially when we add the doors onto here, it's gonna be pretty cool. Overall, from all the Roblox tutorial developers, you are the most helpful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I feel like, well, every developer is great to learn from. You can learn lots of stuff from anybody. And that's what I like most about learning, about experiencing things. that you can learn all sorts of stuff from really anybody. And mainly it's how they teach it, but it's also how you incorporate it and how you use it to learn from. What are you going to do with this room that you're making? At the moment, this is going to be the spawn room, kind of, unless that changes. I don't know. We kind of have a little rough draft of the map so far right here. This is going to be the spawn room so far, but it might overall change. Does being a YouTube developer help you? I can see how it helps in many different ways, sort of, but it's not the most useful. Like when you take the time to do YouTube, it definitely takes a lot of time from you, and you can't spend as much time as you used to working on like video games or things that you're making and stuff. So it kind of takes up some of your time, but overall, I think it's pretty cool, especially when you can build a community, and that's what's most cool. And I see how it can be kind of an advantage to see if you like just released a game, you wanted people to go play it. So I think that is a good advantage. Overall, I don't really see many other ways how it can really help you. Those lights are good with the walls. You're really good at thinking what to do. You're amazing. Thank you very much. Hi, Satebox Jojo. How are you today? Just gonna duplicate uh this part right here, bring it over, and we're gonna position it right about here. Oh man. The main problem I face is when parts like these don't line up at all. It's one of the frustrating parts of Roblox Studio. My tycoon buttons aren't working, which means the colorizer button is visible before buying, same with the dropper. Make sure that the values inside of your button match up exactly with the name of your item. That will mainly help a lot overall. So definitely make sure you're doing that. Do you guys think this area should be concrete or should it be the little tiled part right here? Where does the game take place? I'm kind of thinking somewhere in the 1900s. Maybe. I feel like that's probably where most asylums were open back then. And well, I feel like that is probably the most realistic time frame for this, especially for it to be so old and abandoned. So we're definitely going to have to think about that. All right. How do you think the best way a game can advertise? There are many different ways to advertise your game. I think I'm going to actually go with this tiled version. Sorry to interrupt, but the number one way of advertising, I think, would probably being to reach out to a specific influencer, whether that be on Twitch, YouTube, any social media platform, really, and see if they can play your game. That's usually the best and what I've heard from other people, because usually they'll do it for free because they get to make content from it, and it's just overall a pretty fun thing to do for them. And other ways to do it is the sponsor feature available with Roblox. I feel that's a good way to do it. However, that will use up some of your Robux. Another way to advertise it is, let me see. I don't know. I haven't really advertised a game in a while, so I'm kind of rusty, but I think those are the main two ways that I rely on, really. If I think of any soon, I'll definitely make sure to tell you. Alrighty. How is the game? What is the game going to be called, you may ask? Well, so far I've thought of one name for it. and that is the Asylum. It's the most kind of actually I've thought of two names. The first one is the Asylum, which kind of makes sense because it's based on an asylum and it's pretty spooky. And the second one is Demented. That one I don't know about just yet. It's still just a possibility and an option, but I feel it could be pretty cool. What if there's a sewer area under the asylum? I don't know if there's going to be a sewer, but definitely a basement. However, we definitely could do a sewer. It really depends on what the whole, well, on how it works. Well, how it ends up looking, I guess. Because we could swap it out for a sewer any time of the year, really. So, yeah. Also, can you make a series of tutorial of how to make a game like How Far Can You Fly in Roblox Studio? I definitely can try that. It seems like a good idea. Those How Far Can You Fly games, I know they're probably pretty simple. They probably just use tween service. However, there's probably much more that goes into it. So, yeah. All right. What are you making? I'm late. Sorry. At the moment, we are working on the Asylum horror game that we started about a week or so ago. Or maybe it was a bit more than that. I don't really know when it was. It was a little bit ago. But we are working on the spawn room for the Asylum game, if that helped. Yeah, you do have to spend a lot of Robux on sponsoring your games, but sometimes it can be worth it, especially if it puts it at like the front of the sponsored tab, then that will definitely help a lot. Okay, nice game. Thank you very much. Okay, is that rig there going to be the monster? Unfortunately, well, fortunately not. This guy isn't too scary just yet, unless we were to like make him made out of corroded metal or something like that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. Mainly, I'm just using him for sizing reference right now because he's roughly the size of a player. So yeah, I'm just kind of moving him around as I go. Although he could definitely be a good monster eventually. Maybe if we turn that smile into like a frown, maybe that'd be pretty cool. Maybe give him like some eyebrows or something. I'm just donate you 1K Robux. Oh, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. My game is by Nick Game Studios. My game is called Paint Simulator. It sounds like a great game. It kind of is it sort of like what's it called? Forgot what it's called. Is it that pressure washing simulator? Is it sort of like that, or I don't know? I'd love to play it. If you'd like to, well, I guess I can just research it afterwards. But yeah, Clithrobia, the fear of being trapped. That would be a really cool name. I don't know. Phobia names are always scary and they always have to do with some sort of horror game, I think. So we could definitely try and roll with as many of those as possible. You could also upload videos like trying to make a game in 1 hour or something like that. I definitely thought about that. I thought of making a game in 10 minutes. Well, I thought of, you know, those videos where someone will make like a cookie in 1 minute, 10 minutes, and then an hour? I was thinking of doing something like that, making a game in 1 minute, 10 minutes, and then an hour. Or maybe even going a step up from that, making a game in 10 minutes, 1 hour, and then 10 hours, but that'll take a bit of time. Brady. I kind of lost where I was. Alrighty. Can you make a tutorial on how to make a donation board where people can donate to you? Um, do you mean sort of like a thing where they have like parts kind of lined up like this, and each one has a different button on it that's like 50 Robux, 100 Robux, 250 Robux, something like that? That's pretty easy to do. It's mainly just like dev products and everything, so that is pretty cool. See, I'm just donating you 100 Robux. Oh, well, thank you. I'm just donating you 1K Robux or 100. You can, you don't have to donate to me if you don't like to at all. However, You can choose whatever you would like to donate. You do not have to, though, whatsoever. Right. Can you make a tutorial on making car lights and sounds and working car doors? We could definitely try and do that. Cars are definitely a complicated sort of thing. They use motors and lots of physics to them, so it could be pretty difficult to make. However, we definitely could do that. I think I'm going to bring out this little door wall right here a little bit. It's probably about, I don't know, 0.2 studs or something. That's a bit more than that, but I think that looks pretty good. Something like that to indicate that, yes, there is going to be a door right here. All right, I gotta go. Bye, Rusty Silly Band. All right, see ya, Boxy Jojo. Thank you for joining. Outlast style game, exactly. Well, not an exact copy of Outlast, but it is definitely taking a bit of inspiration from Outlast because that is one of my favorite games to sort of do this type of horror theme for. You taught me how to animate. I love you. Now I'm working on my game. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're learning how to animate, and I hope your development journey goes well. Hello, that bit boy, Scoobster. All right. Can I add you? Sure. Go ahead and friend me. I'll see what I can do. Does anyone else have an issue with data for their Roblox game? My obby had one. Now everyone's progress reset and skip stage won't work. I'd recommend maybe you accidentally change the name of your data store on accident. So now you can probably try and rename it to what it was before. That could work. Hey, Electric Water Dove, how are you today? I sent you the request on the banana guy. Alright, I will accept that right after the stream. Alrighty. I say we work on the doors next. So what I'm going to do for these, it's going to put a part right about here. Scale it down a bit. I don't know. Should we have like thin doors or thick doors? I'm thinking probably thin doors, maybe about this or so. That seems the most realistic. Make a rare item, which is a gun. That would be pretty funny. You could just like kill the main antagonist right off the bat. However, it'd have to be pretty rare. We wouldn't want the player to spawn with one every single time or something, you know what I mean? Hi, Rusty, how do I make the player automatically go in first person? Well, let me show you if I close out of this workspace real quick. It's an absolute mess at the moment with all these folders open. What I love about organizing the workspace, you can just close out all these folders and then everything is nice and tidy again. Well, what you do is if you go over to the starter player folder right here, and then inside of the properties inside of it, you just go to the camera mode property and then you change it from classic to lock first person. And that will go ahead and lock their camera inside of the first person view. Hello, Sate Boxy Jojo, how are you? Is this going to be a first person type game? Yes, it definitely will be. I'm donate you done. Thank you very much. Are you going to have paid Roblox items to use to your advantage? I was thinking about that. I don't want to make the game entirely pay to win because I think that would be kind of boring. However, there probably will be a few things, maybe like a revive, maybe, I don't know. We'll have to think about that. I'm going to make these doors perfect on both sides is just by holding control and going down like this. That will scale it down on both sides. And then you can also duplicate it, move it down, or just go down on one side. If we take the size of this part and just divide it in half, actually, which is 11.05, we'll just round that up to 11, well, down to 11, I mean to say. So 11 divided by half should be about 5.5. So each of these should be 5.5. That's 5.4. Now it's 5.5. Great. I have to go now. Bye. Goodbye, Brody Plays. Thank you for joining. And this one needs, oh, this one is 5.5. All right. So now we just kind of scale in and in. Alrighty, that's perfect, and those are now seamless. Alright, well, you're lucky I'm always having trouble scaling stuff. Well, now you can have less trouble because now you know that little trick while holding control will scale it down on both sides, so I hope that helps. Best content creator, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm fine, thank you. How are you today? I am doing very well, thank you for asking. Sad or happy, happy, happy? I am happy, happy, happy. Thank you for asking. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day today. Thank you too. Glad you are having a great day, or if you're not, I hope you have a great one. My avatar is the missing texture. That is pretty cool. All right, best tutorials. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're following along with them. With these doors, let me bring the rig in. We need some more decals, I think, on the doors. And now that we know these are the right size, I can delete one, I mean to say. I don't have to deal with them. Alrighty. Do we think this door is thin enough, or should it be thinner? What do you guys think? We could do this thin, maybe. That might be a bit too thin. I was thinking maybe something like this. Maybe a bit thicker. I don't know. Thicker? Alright. How about this? That looks about right. Alright. Multiplayer? Unfortunately, no, this is not going to be multiplayer just yet. It's going to be single player for the most part. I do like that kind of eeriness that you get when you're all alone by yourself, kind of. And especially playing a horror game, I feel it intensifies the whole horror effect. Like when you're alone, so it's probably going to be single player. How old are you? Unfortunately, at the moment, I do not feel comfortable sharing my age on the internet just yet. So I will not do that. Hey Rusty, sorry to bother, but can you make a tutorial on how to make an animation play inside the game all the time, non-stop? Yes, there are several different things you can do. I'll just tell you right now, is that, let's say I was to open up the animation editor real quick, and click on my dummy, create an animation and everything. So if I had a little animation, let's see, I was raising my arms up, something like this, maybe a slight bend at the elbow, and my leg was doing the same thing, slight bend at the knee. So you have an animation like this, and then he kind of hunches over maybe. So you had something like this, and you wanted it to play over and over. You could just click on this little tiny button on the bottom right, and that will toggle your animation to start looping like this. And then whenever you publish your animation like that, it will go ahead and constantly loop it. So when you say anim track play inside of your script, then it's going to go ahead and it's going to loop. So it'll basically play infinitely, if that helps. Oh, I accidentally got rid of my dummy right here. Alright. It's very helpful. Thank you. I wish you luck on your game. I gotta go. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining. Roscoe, I'm always alone. Well, I hope you're doing okay with that. I'll be the first donator. Oh, thank you. That will be very appreciated. Have you had breakfast, Rusty? Yes, I did. How about you? Did you have breakfast? Come on, it's 20 people. Yep, it's 20 people, I think, roughly. Yeah, 21 people. Yes, I have had breakfast. Thank you for asking. Have you had breakfast? What do you prefer, modeling, scripting, or building? This is another one of those questions that I love to answer. I personally prefer scripting overall. I feel it's the most fun thing to do. Building, I kind of find tedious, but that's simply because, I mean, well, it technically really is overall. It's kind of tedious, but some people seem to really enjoy it sometimes. So, yeah, it really depends on who you are. I guess it can be kind of therapeutic, even, if you think about it that way. However, I don't usually think about it like that. Oops, sorry. You make it so much understandable tutorials. I'm not even glazing you. I always understand you take your time when showing script. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Hey, Rusty, may I ask, is there any way I can change the mouse pointer? Yup, you definitely can. The way I do it is I insert a local script into starter GUI, but I think you can also put it into like starter character scripts. And you just, inside of your local script, you start off with a player variable like this, and then you get the mouse from the player, just like that, and then you change the mouse's icon to a Roblox asset ID, which is just a simple decal that you can add to your game, and then it'll change the mouse icon or your mouse cursor to whatever image you want to. This is probably the simplest way to do it, so I'd recommend just using this right here. 3 lines of code and incredibly easy. Oh, hi, Cash the King. Thank you for joining. How are you today? Rusty, I gotta go. Have a great day. Thank you for joining. You have a great day as well. Goodbye. I'm just gonna kind of add this like little border around this sort of. Starting a scripting Roblox Studio channel. Do you think it's good leaving the free model in the description? Well, it really depends overall. Some people say no, don't leave the free model in the description. Other people say yes, leave in the description. There's so much conflict between that it's kind of hard to do that sometimes, because some people want to just take the code and get over with it. Other people um, other people want to learn from the code, so they really listen in on it and they take advice from it. So yeah, but it really depends overall on what you're doing, I'd say. I personally leave the script in my comments so that people that are having trouble with it can help find themselves, but sometimes it doesn't always end up helping them. Um, yeah, as Cash the King does, he leaves the model link in his description and gives it more interaction. That can also be a good reason why you do that. I know other people like How to Roblox and I don't know who else, for example, but a lot of tutorial people do tend to leave things in their either description or comments or something that'll help people out a bit more. So, yeah, it really depends on what you want to do with it. What are you building? At the moment, we are building a little spawn area for our asylum so far. Rusty, how do you change how the E to interact proximity prompts image looks? That is a interesting. Well, it's actually pretty simple. Let's say I had a part right here, and inside this part, I'm just going to add in a proximity prompt, just like this. Now, with this proximity prompt, well, let's click on play here so I can show you guys real quick. So, as you can see right now, it just says E and interact like that. However, it won't do anything because we haven't scripted it just yet. What you want to do is inside of your proximity prompt, if you go down inside of the properties down here to style, you can change this from default to custom, like that. And then what you want to do is insert a billboard GUI inside of your part. And then you can add in like a frame inside of here too and a text label. I'm just going to move the stud offset right here to about 1. Actually, let's just do 3 so it'll appear above it. And then you can change like the size of the frame and everything to fit all that type of stuff. You can add in your text labels and customize it however you want to. I'm just going to make one really simple, just like this. And then when you add in your script inside of your part, you can do all sorts of things with your proximity prompt. So what you want to do is basically whenever a player gets near your proximity prompt, you want to enable the billboard GUI. So right now we can just set this enabled equals to false. And then inside of our script, I think we can grab our proximity prompt from our part here. and this will be equal to script.parent.proximity prompt. Then we say proximity prompt dot prompt shown. We can connect a function to that. And then here we can say our script.parent.billboard.gui.enabled equals to true. Our proximity prompt dot, I think it's prompt hidden. Yep, and then we connect a function to that. And we say script.parent.billboard.gui.enabled equals to false. And I think that is all that you need to do. Let's go ahead and test this out. I'm going to anchor the part real quick. Let's see. I probably have an error or something, or I'm just doing something wrong. I don't know. I haven't really worked with proximity prompts for a while. Let's see what is going on here. So, let's see. I believe this should be working. Well, here, instead of just staring at this wondering why it's not working, let me just look it up real quick on the side here, how to change the image for a proximity prompt. Sometimes there's no shame in figuring out how to remember to do something. Happens to everyone. We always forget something. So, get a second here. I wonder. That's not working. Well, here, let me. I had just done this in another game recently. Forgot what it was, though. I think. Here, let's try this instead. We're going to say local proximity prompt service equals to game get service proximity prompt service. We're going to say proximity prompt service. Oh yeah, it's proximity prompt service dot prompt shown and all that. So instead, we're going to do that, and I believe that this should work instead. Alrighty. That doesn't seem to be it either. Oh, let's make it enabled first. Oh, I forgot. I think the billboard GUI needs to be set on always on top. That is probably the reason. Now I need to make sure it's disabled. Sorry, I haven't really messed with proximity prompts in a while. That didn't seem to work either. Hey Rusty, how to use Roblox generative AI. I made a tutorial on this a little while back. However, the basics in it is that you use two comments like this, and then you can say something like, what's it called? Let's see, make the billboard GUI enable whenever the proximity prompt is shown. So you do this, give it a few seconds, and then the AI will usually give you a set of code. However, it doesn't seem to be doing that. All right, but that's pretty much the basics of it. Usually you have to have a little bit more code, I think, for it to actually do stuff. However, I do have another tutorial on that if you would like to watch that. There's a real way to do it. There's a GUI called proximity prompts and player GUI when you go near it. Let's go ahead and see. Should be in players or CC band player GUI. I don't know, is my proximity prompt even still in this part? I think it's this part. Yep. Proximity prompt is enabled. There's lots of stuff here. There isn't an easy way to do it like this. There's actually a script on dev4 to make custom proximity prompts. I'll definitely have to look on that. I don't remember how you necessarily change the proximity prompt. However, if I figure it out, I will definitely let you guys know. Alrighty. What if you do it from the client, not the server? I'm pretty sure it will end up doing the same thing. However, I mean, I guess we could try it like that. Here, instead of adding a new part, let me just Control Z the other one. So let me get rid of this script and add one into starter player scripts, maybe. Let's say local proximity. I'm just going to say PPS for proximity prompt service will be equal to game get service proximity prompt service. And then, and I'm going to put the billboard GUI inside the proximity prompt like this. And then we're going to say PPS dot prompt shown. Let's connect a function. And then I think we should be able to put, yeah, we can put the prompt that is getting shown as a perimeter like that. And then we say prompt dot billboard GUI dot enabled equals to true. And then we can copy this line for prompt hidden. Something like this, and then make it false. Maybe let's see if this will work a little bit better. Oh, that does seem to be working now. The billboard GUI is enabling whenever whenever our proximity prompt goes near. However, it's all the way over there. So that could just be a problem with our billboard GUI. Yep, it's just somewhere over there for some reason. I'm going to set the max distance. That was a mistake, but let's do 0, 0, 0. Maybe we can put, I don't know why the proximity prompt is all the way over here. Let's see. Oh, there's so many different ways to mess with proximity prompts, I think. It's such a complicated but non-complicated feature. Well, I'm not too sure what the problem is. That's the thing. As to why it's all the way over here. It's not even in the middle of the map. It's just off to the side, and that's why it's kind of weird. And I thought there was such an easy way to do it, but I guess not. Yeah, once again, I'm sorry, but if I figure that out, I will definitely try and tell you. All right, let's get back to this door real quick. I'm just going to move this window up, scale it down like this, scale it across, something like this, I think. Can move it up to about here. In case you don't know what I'm doing, I'm basically just going to make a simple little window for the door. Just going to rotate it. Alrighty. I got ideas that I can tell you. Alright, if you'd like to leave them inside the chat, I'll definitely try and read them. Thank you. Keep up the good work, man. Thank you. I'll definitely try and do that. You as well. I don't know how to make games. Well, mainly if you practice a lot and try and learn from it as best you can, then you will become much better at making games and you can definitely learn how to do it. So I wouldn't recommend giving up though. That's where most dreams are given up by it. So definitely make sure you don't give up. When are you going to add more floors to our tycoon? You can do that whenever you would like to. However, I wouldn't recommend doing it just yet because I don't know what it's going to take for the rebirths at all. However, we'll figure out as we go along. Alrighty, that's looking pretty good. Let me just scale all these out a little bit. Perfect. Something like that. Then we can just duplicate this part, move it right here, go up, go in, go down a little bit. All right. So now we just go into model, set this as a negative part, and then we can union it with the door, and that will create a little space inside of our door for our window here. Then we can just duplicate this part, scale it in a little bit, go up to the top, scale it in, and then we can up the transparency to something like 0.6, maybe even 0.4 or so. That looks about good. I don't know if I am too big of a fan of this door so far, in all honesty. I'm just going to union these parts together, I think. And I'm going to drag our door over a bit. About right here. That looks about right. Now we just got to change this. And then move this up. Alrighty. Your streams are really cool. Thank you very much. Rusty, how do you make a tycoon dropper? I have a tutorial like that on my channel if you would like to go watch that. When I touch my dropper button in my tycoon, the button won't do anything. Well, you may have an error in your tycoon maybe, or you may have or you might not have the values in your button set to the correct objects. Are there any objectives in the game? Yes, you are going to have to go ahead and find lots of things around the asylum, whether that be keys, hints, clues, whatever. I'm not too sure just yet, but it's going to be pretty cool. Do you have any pets, Rusty? Yes, I do. I have 2 dogs. One is a little pug, and then one is a little Frenchie, I believe. I'm pretty sure you heard our Frenchie barking, maybe. You're asking if he has an output open. That's a great place to start. Can you give me game idea? I'm bored. I don't have a game idea right off the top of my head. However, if you would like to, you can probably, well, most games that are popular right now seem to be simulators. So you can try and make one of those maybe. I sent you a friend request. Okay. I have an idea for objectives. Instead of the game telling you the objective, you have to figure out the objective. That would be pretty cool. Well, yeah, I guess we could do that. Sort of like doors. You don't really know you have to go through the doors. You just kind of figure that out on your own. So we definitely could do that. Yes, that's why I asked. Lol, the dogs are so cute. Thank you very much. Simulators stink. They aren't all the same thing. Well, they are all the same thing. I mean, they're definitely a great learning resource. You can learn a lot from them, especially like how to make pets and stuff. That's a very useful skill to learn. And, hmm, yeah, pretty much all of them are not too great. However, hopefully sometime in the future they'll probably be better quality. How do you script a working door? Well, there are many different ways to script a door. It depends on the door that you're working on, really. Like if I made this guy into a door, well, not this guy, but if I made a door like this, I'd probably want to have like a proximity prompt or something that the player has to use to open the door. Maybe they'll need to find a key somewhere or something. But there are definitely a lot of different ways that you can achieve that. Just going to duplicate these little details onto the other side of the door like this. Alrighty. So far, the door area is looking pretty cool. I wonder if we should add one of these guys right up here, though. Something like this. Just bring it down a bit for that extra level of detail. In my eyes, in the future, you will have a diamond play button. Thank you very much. That would be very, very cool to see. Are we going to add codes to the Tycoon? We could definitely add codes. It's a great idea. However, yeah, I mean, sure, we could try that. I have another idea for the game. Maybe each interaction has animations like picking stuff up and opening doors. You and I are thinking the exact same. I was thinking exactly like that, where the player has to go through, open up the door, but they have to, like, I don't know, maybe crash their shoulder into it, or maybe they have to just turn the knob or whatever. But yeah, maybe we'll just do something like that. But definitely having animations for everything is going to be pretty cool. Well, maybe not everything, but pretty common stuff. Is there a tutorial on your channel on how to make a door animation? Unfortunately, there isn't. However, we can probably try and make one sometime in the future. Mainly, it really depends on the door that you're trying to make, though. Dude, how are you? I missed some things. Yes, there has been a lot of stuff that has changed since the last episode on this, or the last live stream. However, you can probably catch up pretty quick. I'll even give you a little recap. So basically, we've changed up the whole game. We've added some different walls, different materials, lots of different stuff, made the whole vibe pretty creepy. And we've added some pretty cool, like, decorations so far, and all this stuff, some lights, everything like that. And we're working on a door right now. And how are you? I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for asking. How are you today? We have slight inverse kinematics on the legs. I was definitely thinking about that. However, I'm not too sure if the inverse kinematics are going to be too useful, simply because most of the ground is probably going to be pretty flat. Rusty, I'm back. Thank you very much for joining again. I'm going to not join this, but move this over to this side of the wall. You can probably, now I'm just going to grab all of these different things here, and then we can duplicate them over for this side. Well, now that's a problem. Alrighty, so we're going to have to do some scaling here. We're going to have to scale all of this stuff down. We're going to need to grab every single one of these parts, including, oh, I didn't duplicate that part, but try, so it's right here now. If we went 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, well, we can't do 5 equally, but we can do 10. So if I were just to swap this down to 0.05 instead, we can do 10 increments. So 5 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I went back one. And then we can grab every single one on this side. Like this. And then we should be able to do 5 more. So We can just go all the way until these are even again. And there we go. Now we have these even doors. I don't really like them too much, in all honesty. I don't think the colors really go. Make some doors out of wood, and when you're running, try to get through it, make an animation like breaking the door. That would be pretty cool. I'm preset. Hello, Rusty. Hello, how are you today? I'm good. Glad to hear that. Will there be like some quick time events in the game, like spamming a button or something? That is a very good idea. I feel like that could be a pretty cool like way to escape the monster or the antagonist, I mean to say, where maybe he'll like hold you down or something. You gotta spam, click, or whatever to get out of it, maybe. So something like that could be pretty cool. How about you just animate the doors and make it a rig instead of making the doors actually rotate? We could do that, but that is a little less optimized than simply using tween service or something, I think. So we may do that or we may not do that. It does not look like there's any errors. It looks like all the values are set correctly. What is the problem? Sometimes the output won't output errors inside of your thing. You can probably use print statements throughout your script to make sure that it's the correct code. Well, just to make sure it's working, really. And that'll help a little bit. I'm just going to bring this out, something like that. I feel like this on each side of the door could probably help. I don't know. I don't know how I like that too much. I feel like there need to be a little bit of a gap in between these doors. Just like a very, very tiny gap. Let's try 0.025. And we're just going to go one tiny little increment over. Well, yeah, I say we try it on the other side too. Let me just make sure I grab all the correct pieces. I guess that looks a little better. We need to scale these ones over a bit. We can just probably scoot them over onto this side. Like this. By the way, did you find out what will chase you? Yes, we did. We are going to be using a escaped ASYLUM patient. So yeah, it's going to be like kind of a psycho chasing after you. By the way, I think I already sent you a friend request a while ago, so if you want to, you can accept me. That would be cool. Alrighty, I'll do that right after the stream. I don't like the top part. Yeah, I don't really like it either, but I don't know what to do with it. In all honesty, the doors look okay now that we have that gap in between them. However, these can touch. Alright. However, this up part definitely needs to go or change in whatever way possible. I feel like maybe instead of metal, we could try that tile. Something like that, maybe. Or does that look bad too? Do you have something with can connect if something goes wrong that's not the comments? We have a Discord server if you would like to join that. That's probably the best way to reach me. However, I'm not always very active on Discord. So, yeah. Yeah, like Resident Evil, that is a good example. We could definitely add the buttons like that. Make a door that is locked and you need a key for it, and you need to spam a key to open a door or when a monster gets you. Those are good examples of those timed events, I mean to say. We could definitely add that as well. I'm gonna use a proximity prompt for doors or auto. We're probably gonna be using a proximity prompt of some sort to open and close the doors. That way we can kind of add the like little animation. I think that'd be pretty cool. I want to be in a video, but you only do Roblox Studio videos. Fortunately, in the future, I do plan on doing more like challenges maybe or more events with people. So if you would like to join those, you can definitely make sure you're subscribed and maybe even join the Discord server. What I do, like local error equals to, I don't know, warrant error. No, you can use a simple print statement just by saying the word print in all lowercase, and then make sure you use two parentheses and then quotation marks. And you pretty much just go like every other line or so in your code, just say like print what that line of code does. Like if it's the part where the button gets touched, just say print button has gotten touched, something like that. Maybe add like some survivor NPCs that help you along the way. I was thinking about that, but I feel like it wouldn't really be very scary if you had other people in there with you, and it doesn't really make sense for it to be abandoned if there are going to be people. You had something at the top part of the doors because it looks ugly to me. Yeah, it looks very ugly to me too, inside and as well as the walls right here, but I'm not too sure what to add just yet. Just add something to the top part of the doors because it looked like, oh yeah, I already read that. Yep, I'm doing that. Or I put in a P call. A P call, you don't really need to do that. That's more of a protected function than a print statement. Yep, thank you, Trash Compactor 23 for helping. Will you make the Q and E peek keys? That would be pretty cool. Sort of like the ability to kind of peek around a corner or something. That would be pretty cool. Is it going to be solo or multiplayer with lobbies and that, or multiplayer with GUIs? I imagine it probably going to have a... I don't know if you guys have played a game like Michael Zombies before, but I imagine I kind of want to make it something like that, where it's kind of like a lobby and GUIs put together. I think that'd be pretty cool. Or maybe, I don't know, we'll have to think about that eventually. Just put an exit sign on the big thing on top of the door. That would be a good idea. But I don't know. Well, it's not necessarily exit sign. Let me show you the map design so far. So we've got this spawn area. We've got a room off to the side, and we've got a long hallway. This is the door that's going to go into the long hallway right here. So I'm not too sure if we should put the word exit, since it's really only just the beginning of the whole asylum, if that makes sense. Will you have like gore or something in the game? Yes, I believe that we're going to have some gore. I feel like that makes every horror game a little bit more realistic. By the way, just tell the chat there's like a 5-second delay. Yes, unfortunately, I believe it's probably been increased to like 8 seconds now or something like that. I have no clue why YouTube does that, even though I have it on ultra low latency, but it just kind of does that again. Like this, print hello world. Yep, that is the exact way to do it. I'll make a cookie in Roblox Studio for you. Can accept my friend request. I'll accept your friend request right after the stream real quick. Add some wheelchairs. That is a good idea. Definitely do that. I'm thinking of adding like mattresses everywhere. Maybe a few chairs, coffee tables, stuff like that. Some beds, stuff like that maybe. Using future lighting for the better horror experience. Absolutely. I really like how it kind of helps with reflectance, the lights, and it really helps with a lot of stuff. Michael Zombies is the best. It's a pretty fun game. Add bloody hospital beds. We've got this kind of like rusty hospital bed at the moment. We definitely could add some blood to it though. Let me show you guys the lighting I have so far real quick. I've got this lighting right here that I'm just going to add to the lighting real quick. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I think this is it. So if I just add these real quick, you can see everything becomes much, much darker. And it's much better when I actually go into the game real quick so you can see. Are you going to do where you can see your body in first person and you're making custom animations? Yep, I definitely will be doing that. So at the moment, I have a flashlight that I can turn on and kind of go around. I think I need to edit the lighting a little bit more just so it's not so dark and frightening. But then again, that's also why I have the night vision. As you can see, I still need to fix some things with it because I think it is still a little bit too dark, especially for night vision. However, we'll see how some things will turn out. I think it's pretty cool though, especially with the flashlight. We need to up its brightness, I think, though. Let's go ahead and stop the game. Will you have like lore to the game, or is this government like is it a government or just a random asylum? I want to add lore to the game. I'm not too sure what we'll add though yet, simply because I'm not that great at making like story really. However, we definitely can do that. At the moment, I think it's probably just going to be a random asylum. In the last stream, we kind of talked about having it maybe being like a whole simulation type thing where the whole thing was like a dream or a test, maybe something like that. You should add tips in the loading screen. That's a cool idea. Just like maybe like hint, you can open the door or something like that. Well, they'd have to be better hints, but just as an example. You might not know what this is. Do you think the game LUA Learning is a decent game for beginners? Yes, I do know that game. I think the game is very great. However, it's kind of short and it doesn't, well, it doesn't, I don't know, it's been a while since I've played it, so I don't know if there's been any updates to it or if I've forgotten anything. But the last time I played it, I think there was, well, really, it just kind of, it seemed like I had to do everything and it didn't tell me what it was doing. Like it says, make a function that does this or print hello world. So you have to find out how to print hello world, and it doesn't necessarily give you any hints or really explain what that was. But that was a while ago or not. Maybe for a secret poster, you could add a poster on the wall that says sub to Rusty, and if you click on it, it opens up a passage that gives you an ending called escape. That would be pretty cool. I honestly was thinking about having a little Easter egg like that, where maybe like you open up a room that goes into the game files. Well, not a room that goes into the game files, but a little room that uh, looks like a little computer room, sort of. And inside of it, it's got a little laptop that you can hop on, and then it'll send you to like a Rusty Silly Bandit tutorial or whatever. That's just going over, well, just like going over how we made the asylum or whatever, and then the ending is just where Rusty Silly Bandit comes in and bans you from cheating or whatever because you know how the game's built. But we'll definitely have to think about that. Uh, The Matrix. Yeah, kind of like The Matrix. I don't know really yet because we're still going over a lot of the stuff. Will you have one or two entities? We may have two entities, maybe something, maybe like just lurking in the shadows or not. Maybe, I don't know. We'll definitely have to do some more thinking on it. What is the key trigger for the flashlight? At the moment, it's F. I feel like that's the most usual one for the flashlight. Maybe make the flashlight have an animation of the player turning it on and off and holding it out. I was thinking about that. We'll definitely have to get to work on that, but I don't really have a flashlight model just yet. This game reminds me of Wake Up. It's a movie where this girl's in a coma and basically she is in an asylum with a bunch of other people and affects her life when she gets out of the coma. Huh. I've never heard of that movie. However, it sounds like a pretty cool movie. Can you add me? Yes, I'll add you right after the stream. I have an idea for a different game. You can make a horror game that breaks the fourth wall a lot. I'm not sure what you mean by the fourth wall, in all honesty. Could we make the final part of the Tycoon live? We could do that. I feel like it might be a little hard to follow along if people are a little bit late, or maybe if like someone doesn't want to watch a 2.5 hour live stream. We could cut it up into little sections afterwards if I also record it and then make the videos at that as well. How about the more and more you encounter him, the more monster-like he starts to look? And it seems like it might be a little bit difficult to do, simply because you'd have to have so many different meshes for the monster, but it'd be a good idea. You can create a tutorial for the following: tweening plus C-frame, a different tutorial for the following: create a monster murder with the tool and kill animation. We could definitely try and do that. Do you know, like one shot, no players online, how those break the fourth wall? I do not know about one shot, in all honesty. Goodbye, Shadow Ninja. Let's go ahead and add something right here to the wall. Something that'll make it look much better. Something that'll make it look cleaner, maybe? Not cleaner, but this is another reason why I'm not too big a fan of building, simply because sometimes I just can't really think of something to go here. Do you make a scripting tutorial? Yes, I was definitely thinking about that. Alright, goodbye, Rise. See you later. Rusty, do you know how to make a cooking system? If so, can you please make a tutorial? We definitely can do that. Add a neon exit sign. Yes, you'll be the best if you did. Alright, that's the second comment we've gotten for the neon exit sign. I say we go ahead and do it. I'm just going to open up Blender real quick. I'm just going to drag this right here. Window, just go ahead, toggle full screen. Alright, so here we're going to create a little neon exit sign. Let's go ahead and add in a cube, I think. I'm going to scale this down. Go in a little bit like this. And then let's go ahead, grab every line right here. And I'm going to create a little bit of a bevel, sort of like this. Well, let me apply all transforms. That'll make it so it's more square, it looks, I think. Something like this, I think. Let's go ahead, grab these two faces and inset them like that, and then we can delete the faces. Let's just do this and add extrude. All right. I'd say extrude there, but that is okay. So now we've got this kind of back of a sign, and then we can put the text inside of it. So Blender actually has a pretty cool part. Well, not part, but a object called text. And it'll just pretty much add text to your scene, and you can rename it to whatever you want to. So I'm going to rename it to exit, rotate it 270 degrees. Let's move it right to the middle. Something like this. Alrighty. We can also change the font of this, I believe. Yep. Let's go through. We want like a realistic-ish font, but we don't want it to be too unrealistic-ish. And if you can make a desktop on the laptop and a file called game name, Roblox Studios, and when you click on it, it just says you tried to reveal our secret. That would be a funny ending to the game. Let's see, maybe, I don't know, is that too like bubbly or cartoony? Do you guys think? Maybe you can see him peek through the windows of doors by pressing a different button like E to open the door or R to peek. That'd be a cool idea. I really don't like to tell people to do what to do with their game, but I get some good ideas and I just have to vent to someone. Yes, please. I need all the good ideas I can get simply because I'm not too great at getting, well, I'm not too creative half the time, really. Rusty metal for the exit sign? That'd be pretty cool. And explain why, well, I doubt there'd be too much power for a neon sign in the middle of an asylum, so having it be rusty would be probably pretty good. What is the monster gonna look like? It's gonna look like a psycho, I think, or an abandoned, not an abandoned, but an escaped patient at the asylum, something like that. Well, not offset, I meant to do extrude. Like this, that'll basically thicken up the text a bit. It doesn't need to be that much. Alrighty, now we have this type of sign. I stink at using Blender. Yeah, I do as well. Well, I wouldn't say absolutely stink. I know a few things, but I'm definitely not as great as I could be. Rudoka one is a great font. I personally love that font, but it doesn't really match with this whole type of thing. Can you make a little guy running on the exit side? I was definitely thinking about that. I feel like that'd make it a little bit better. Let's see what we can do. Hmm. Um. Well, I'm kind of at a loss for how to do this. I'm gonna start with a cylinder maybe and go from there. Actually, no, I'm gonna use a square. Square would probably be better. A cube, I mean, something like this. So my idea is probably just gonna make like a stick man, and then we're going to add a subdivision surface to it. Let's see. I'm gonna subdivide these. That way we can kind of uh, let me rotate all of this stuff 270 degrees. All right. So I'm going to extrude this leg out like this, and then extrude this one. It doesn't look very great right now, but you gotta trust in the process. It's gonna look a little bit better. Gotta trust me real quick. We're gonna go like this to create some arms. Okay, this is not looking as great as I thought it would. We have our little character here. Let's see what a subdivision surface does. Well, that does not look like I wish it would. In all honesty. Um, hmm. And I might just make like an icon or something from him doing that. That makes a little bit more sense. I feel like that'd be a little bit better to do. But I don't know. This exit sign just seems too not there. Use Unity as a substitute for Blender. Unity is more of a game engine, whereas Blender is more of a 3D modeling software. However, Unity is I don't know too much about Unity's 3D modeling. I think that you can 3D model in it, but I've never tried and I can't really recommend it to you because I've never tried it. The story could be that he was a patient that was experimented on and it made him really mutated. That's why I wanted it to be that the more you see him, the more monster he is. That would be cool. Once I tried modeling and it went bad. Yeah, when you first try, you kind of get a bit confused. Sometimes it's not very fun, or sometimes it's a little bit too much fun. You get carried away, something like that. Modeling is can be a little dangerous that way. Instead of the little guy being a stickman, it should be an R6 dummy rig that's tinted black. That'd be pretty cool. We could probably definitely do that. Let's see. Planning the movement of his arms and legs to make it look like he's running. Let me grab a reference image at the moment for an exit sign with a little running guy next to it. Right, let me try this again. Instead of using a cube, I'm going to go to the vertice, press M, and merge all of these at center just to get a single vertice right here. And this will allow us to make a much better stick figure, I believe. We're just going to go down, and then back. There's one leg. And then we're going to go down, down, and then back. And then we can kind of go up more. Just gonna move him more this way a bit. Let's go here and then here. Just gonna move these over. And then we can go back here like that. And last but not least, actually, I'm going to stick with the body for now and then make a head later because the head is usually like kind of floating off of the guy. And then we can add a modifier here, a skin modifier, and we can kind of shrinken this down. And then we simply just add a subdivision surface modifier, maybe 2. Well, let's just do 1 for now. Apply both. Oh, sorry, apply the skin first and then the subdivision surface. And then we can just shade smooth this. Add in a UV sphere with 16 segments and 8 rings. That's 7. There we go. Shade smooth that as well. Let's just make the little head. Well, I'd say we have succeeded, in all honesty. It actually doesn't look too bad overall. Well, there are a lot of messages since I had done that. Let me go through a few of these. All right, I might just re-download Blender then. You definitely can. I'd recommend doing that. Flatten to move his legs and arms to make him look like he's running. All right, we've kind of got a little figure here, so I'm going to join these two parts together. Remember when I was young and I downloaded Roblox Studio on my mom's computer, I deleted the toolbox and deleted the evidence of Roblox. Nice. Make Harry the Stickman. That'd be pretty funny. Put a rig for the guy and animate him running in place. That might be a little bit too advanced for the ASYLUM, especially for its time, if it's supposed to be based in the 1900s or so. But we'll see what we can do. So I feel like that's running at too steep of an angle. All right, this is our exit sign. Then can shrink. Maybe make the outside ring just like a little bit smaller, I think. Something like that. Right, make him fatter. He looks like a skinny guy. We can try it, but but I guess we could. Let's do S, Shift Z. Well, I think it's a bit too back to make him a little bit. I think it's a bit too late to make him a little bit more skinnier, though. Interesting. Well, this is what we're gonna have to go with, I think. All right. It seems like Chad has no knowledge of modeling either, huh? Lol. That looks so good, Rusty. Thank you very much. Noise, that looks amazing. Give me Blender tutorial. I don't really have any Blender tutorials on me at the moment. I know I've got a few really old ones, but those ones aren't very great quality, so I wouldn't recommend watching them. However, I know that the Blender Guru is a great place to start. Is it good to use free items in any game? It really depends on the game that you're making, really. Sometimes, I've heard with like realistic horror games that if you've never made a realistic horror game before, then you should just go ahead and use free models or whatever. But I don't really want to use free models, really. I feel like I kind of want to rise to the challenge and make a horror game by myself. But if you're just learning out, you can definitely use free models, and there's definitely no shame in using that when you're definitely first starting out. However, you definitely kind of want to ease yourself off of using free models the more you go on in your Roblox career. I'm just decimating a few of these items at the moment simply because we don't want their vertice count to be too high, because that can kind of it makes it kind of more difficult for people with lower end computers to play the game. So we want to make sure everyone can play it. Then we can just combine all of these together, squish it down, and it looks like we have an exit sign. So I'm just going to toggle window full screen, move it back over here. I'm just going to save this real quick in my folder. Right here, I'm going to name it to exit sign. Alrighty. Now that we're over here in Roblox, open up the asset manager, the meshes folder. I'm going to grab the exit sign right here. Alrighty. Now we can insert this exit sign just like this. I'm going to move it over here and let's see how it looks with our rusty metal material. If it looks pretty good, then we'll keep it that way. Otherwise, we can do something else with it. That looks pretty good, actually. I'm going to make it white, and then let's change it to corroded metal. Ooh. That is pretty spooky. Oops. Definitely fills up the space a lot more. I really like it. I really, really like it. Wow. That really hits the spot. All right, we are definitely keeping that there. All right. So don't use the toolbox, only use ones that have no scripts. If you do use the toolbox, I don't recommend it though. I saw a script in a chair wall. Yeah, there are lots of harmful scripts inside of the toolbox. Lots of people trying to ruin your game, make everything, well, make your game not function as well as it could be. So I would recommend not using too many free models as well, simply because it can be harmful for your game. Maybe the sound effect reverb and echo in the asylum so the entity can hear you. That's a good idea. I know in the sound service you can change like the ambient reverb not parameter but property. You can also change a lot of these other things, so that's pretty cool. You can add like different types of reverb, like a cave if you wanted to, just generic reverb, plenty of different stuff. So there are all sorts of stuff that we can do with that. Yeah, there are a lot of good Blender tutorials on YouTube. I would personally watch the Blender Guru. He's got an amazing Blender tutorial for like how to make a donut, and that will show you pretty much everything that you need to learn in Blender. And that is a very high quality tutorial, and that's how I learned originally. So I'd recommend following that. When are you going to make the scripting tutorial? I do not know. I might finish making the Tycoon series first. However, we'll definitely start to see. So chat makes 1 Robux a month for helping. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how I would be able to pay you guys. I don't know if I could pay you guys really. I don't know. It'd have to be interesting to figure that out. Is it bad that my own sister says that I'm wasting time making Roblox games? It's not. Well, I I don't think you can call it a. Well, it's that she's not being very supportive of you. I think that's the bad thing. I would, well, really never give up on anything that you want to do, on your dreams, even if it's developing games, even if no one else thinks that you can do it. That's what I like to do, prove people wrong. Like if no one else thinks you can do it, then that's only ample reason to try harder, to achieve that greatness and to achieve what other people think that you can't do. So really, I'd say you should keep on making Roblox games. Did you hear that Roblox is coming to VR in a couple of days? Yes, I am. Roblox VR is a pretty cool feature. I'm not too sure how it can be implemented into too many games just yet, and we may even add it to this game if we can figure that out. That'd be pretty cool. Make a dummy say where you're going when the player is near the exit. We could do that. What do you think? How much time do you need for this game? I'd say give me about 2 months, maybe even 3. I don't know. So far, we've managed to get most of this room in about a day or so. So, well, it's actually been only like 2.5 hours. So I'd recommend, I not recommend, but I'd think probably 3 months maybe. Can you give me an idea for a game to make? I don't really have an idea off the top of my head. Do you have any favorite topics at all? Like favorite genre of game, favorite theme of game, whether it be simulator, tycoon, horror game, whatever it is. You can make a table with like cups or something, then if you knock the cup off, the monster will come to you. That will require a few physics, I think. We'd have to make some things not be anchored, I think. Hmm. I guess. I don't know. That seems like it'd be a little bit difficult to make, but it's a good idea. Can you make a tutorial to where if a part touches another part, you change color? I can try to, yeah. If your favorite genre is horror, fighting, etc., you can try and combine those maybe. That could make a unique game idea. Remake a horror fighting game. Maybe you have to fight things as a skeleton, or maybe you have to fight skeletons, or something like that, just off the top of my head. You could do like, I don't know, skeleton fighting simulator. You can maybe make like a zombie game. You can make horror tycoon. I've never seen one of those before. You could do a realistic horror game like this. You could make your own asylum if you would like to. Uh, yeah, you could make a platformer, as Peppy was talking about. Make God of War Horror Edition. That would be a really funny idea, and that'd be really fun to play. I think I'd probably play it. In all honesty, so yeah, there are many different things you can do, and many different ways to do those things. Overall, I think this doorway actually looks really cool. I think I want to add one of these lights either right up here or right under here. I feel like no, probably not right under here. Actually, let's see. We gotta line it up first. The align tool is incredibly useful. Helps you align things up perfectly in the center every single time, so that's really cool. That looks really cool. I wonder if we can do both. Maybe one right there and one up here. Let's see. I'm going to use the align tool one more time. Don't want to do the Z, but we do want to do Y. Ooh. Never mind, probably not X, but Y instead. There we go. That is the correct placement. All right, so now we've got our lights placed down over there. I say we tackle the floor next. The main tedious part of the floors is mainly going to be taking care of like these rounded corners. That's going to be pretty unfortunate to make. Yeah, there are infinite possibilities to the games that you can make. That's what I love about Roblox Studio, is that there's really so much to make that you sometimes you can't think of what to make. That's the main problem a lot of people have, actually. Let's see. All right, that's about the right. All right. So we've got the floor. I don't know if we should just keep the corners sticking out like that or not. I don't think we should. We probably are going to have to like do this somewhat, maybe make a union right there. I don't know. I guess we could try making a union. I don't see any harm in doing that, so that's what I'm going to do. I've never seen a game with credits where the developer is voice acting the text that is shown. I've heard of a game called uh, Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, kind of where the developer is talking to you throughout the whole thing. I think that one's pretty cool. However, you could definitely increment that, where you have like voice lines and stuff inside of your game. I feel that'd be pretty cool. I'm just gonna move this part right over here. It's not that common on Roblox because all the players are kids who are impatient. Yeah, most of them are pretty impatient. Some of them just are there to play the games, not really to listen to other things. But I feel like if you're making a horror game or a realistic game, you won't really have to deal with too many young kids. Lining up all these floors is hopefully going to be pretty easy as long as I can do it right. And then I'm just going to have to union all of them together. Alrighty. So let's grab every single last piece and union all of those together. We can then grab the color of this part and then finally delete it. Paste the color into here. Turn on use part color in the properties and then change the material to, well, not the material variant to floor tile. And here we go. We are doing pretty good. I completely forgot about this door area, so let me add that as well. Real quick. Games with credits imply that the game was made by multiple people. That is true as well. However, I think it'd be kind of funny if you just add credits and it's just the one guy that made everything. That'd be pretty funny. If you're making sort of a comedy game, maybe. Or if you just wanted to add some sort of comedy to your game already, if it didn't have any. Just gonna make this come all the way out to about there. And then these little parts on the bottom of the door are going to have to move. Right up here, we can just go ahead and drag them either up and or down. And there we go. And then we simply just union all of these together. If I can find the button, here it is. Just make sure that we're doing all this correct stuff. Change the material variant to floor tile and bada bing, bada boom. We now have this beautiful looking environment that's not really beautiful looking. In fact, it's kind of scary. All right. Bro, why did I just join? Should I have joined hours ago? I mean, you can join whenever you want to, really. That's what's cool about live streams. What kind of horror game should I make? There are all sorts of horror games, horror game ideas, even. I'd recommend looking at what's popular, either on Steam or on Roblox, seeing what the general theme of, and then trying to go off of there. Um, Otherwise, if that doesn't work out too well for you, you can always try and just trying to think of a very unique idea. Most of them really just have to do with whatever's dark, people will get scared at, so that's one thing to think about. Pretty young to invest in my career, that is a great thing to do. Always getting started on your future is amazing. If you have ChatGPT, you can ask it. That is also a good thing to do if you're lacking any other ideas. It's about a game. All right, you have an idea. It's about a game where you hear about a murder and you have to bar up your house and survive for as long as you can. The longer you stay, the longer you go insane. That's pretty cool. I don't really, well, I guess the horror aspect could be the fact that you never know what's going to happen next and you just eventually get completely scared out of your mind from the intenseness. So the rake. Game type, you tape insanely fast. If you survive and make it out of your house, you figure out it was all just a reality show. That would be the most terrifying reality show that I think I would ever watch. And that I don't think that'd be very funny for the reality show. Yeah, don't use ChatGPT for scripting. Well, you can. That's the thing. ChatGPT, it's not very reliable for code that works half the time, but when it does work, it usually works pretty well. And overall, it's a pretty useful thing. I wouldn't recommend learning from it though. Yes, we can see this Meow Schools 123. You can definitely use ChatGPT for game ideas. I think that it is very amazing for the creative aspect. However, I wouldn't recommend using it for everything. As long as you're not plagiarizing, you can use scripts not made by you. That is definitely correct. I mean, don't try and learn from the scripts or from ChatGPT. It's probably not the best thing to learn from, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. However, I imagine it can explain things to you pretty well. How are you so good at scripting? I'm not too great at scripting. I really just have a basic understanding of it, and then from then on, you can kind of figure out what to do. Can you tell me how to use Roblox generative AI? I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel. You can either watch that, or there are many different tutorials out there. There's also the material generators you can use that can create materials for you with the AI. That's another cool thing. Alrighty, I say we get to work on the roof for this game. We should simply be able to add in a part up here and pretty much just do the same thing that we did with the floor, except up here. You shout me out, please. Unfortunately, I don't think shoutouts are the way to go on YouTube. They can be very harmful to the person not only shouting you out, but also to your channel well, it can be very harmful to both channels or yeah. Simply because like if our channels are completely different in nature, that if I tell my viewers to subscribe to you, then they aren't going to be really interested in your content because your content is so different from mine, if that makes sense. And so you'd have a ton of subscribers on your channel, yes, but you wouldn't be really getting any views because the people wouldn't be interested in your content because they'd mainly be looking for Roblox Studio. However, sometimes it is beneficial, sometimes it's very harmful. However, I'd like to stay clear of that, if that makes sense. I just got a good idea from ChatGPT for breaking the fourth wall. That is a great thing. I hope you can develop your game. I have a question. How do I make a saving GUI button? For like example, I press buy for 500 coins and the GUI button text will be already purchased. When I rejoin, it still says already purchased. That is probably going to be using data stores most of the time, or let's say, well, it depends on what you're purchasing. You could probably save values inside of the player that depend if they've already bought the certain item or not. And if they have, you can just change the text to that, if that makes sense. I stink at coding, but I love it so much that is the exact feeling I get every single day. Where's your gaming channel at? Ah, that is something I've thought of a few times. Let's see. I don't think I necessarily have the right personality for a gaming channel. You know, I see gaming channels all the time. They're so like bright and happy all the time. I feel like I'm a little bit too monotone for a gaming channel sometimes though. And I don't really know what games I would play really. I guess I could play the games that I make. That would be pretty good for advertising, but I don't know. I wouldn't be able to pump out games that fast, I don't think. When is your scripting tutorial coming out? Hopefully rather soon. Rusty, I tried to literally use the code if tool equals to collide. I don't think that is going to work, unfortunately. However, it's a good start. Poor Rusty getting lumber with questions and all. No, I actually like the questions. It helps me not be like so quiet during a live stream. Normally, I am unfortunately pretty quiet, and it makes me kind of boring to watch. So the different questions definitely help a lot. Do you guys think that the ceiling should match the floor tile, or should we make the floor tile match the walls more, or should we make it metal? I don't know. There's so many different things we can do, and every one of them looks so good. I think I'm kind of liking the floor tile, really. And we can add like pipes along the ceilings too. I think that'd be really cool. And I want to add some troffer lights, which are kind of like those lights that you see at Walmart or Costco. They're like in the ceiling, sort of. How did your most popular video get 200,000 views? Well, mostly it's a broadly used search term, how to animate in Roblox Studio, simply because, well, people like to search for certain tutorials, and I guess how to animate is one of those really broadly searched for tutorials. And so I guess it really just kind of exploded because people are looking for a tutorial like that, and I was able to give them a tutorial like that. You should put a temporary light in the place you can see better while you are coding. I could definitely do that, or I can just turn off cast shadow right here, and that'll make it much easier to see inside of here while we are still building. And that makes it look a little less scary, but it overall helps quite a bit. Can you make a tutorial on how to make an RPG game? I definitely can try that eventually. You could probably play like simulators. Yeah, I could. Um, well, I don't really play too many simulators, I guess, but we could definitely try it. You've come so far. You're so proud. You have 23 people watching you on live stream. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Make a jump scare. Oh, there are going to be so many jump scares in this game. Not like one every time you turn a corner, but like every other time you turn a corner or something like that. There are going to be so many scary jump scares. It's going to be horrifying. You should use the AI generated materials for the floor. Well, let me show you the AI materials real quick. The AI materials aren't very great. Let me look for scary ceiling material. Let's see what this comes up with. I know it's not a very descriptive prompt, so it's probably not going to give me anything good, but let's just see what it does. Do you think Dreamy is a good builder? I have never heard of Dreamy in all honesty. What about this one? It's got that kind of like roof texture. I don't think I really like it though. Maybe this one. Oh, yeah, I don't know. These textures are kind of weird. I don't really like them too much. Add cutscenes to the game. I don't know if cutscenes, well, maybe like a few doors cutscenes, sort of. Maybe like kind of tiny cutscenes, not really big, long ones. Costco lights are very good. I agree. Are you going to send the link, or like what's the game called that you're making? The game isn't exactly made yet, so there's not really much to play. However, it's probably going to be called something like the Asylum or something scary. A fantasy game would be cool. Trying to make one with failing so hard. I'd recommend, well, I can't really recommend anything because I've never made a fantasy game before. However, try your hardest to make what you can make, and then from then on, just try to make everything as best as you can. Because perfect is not easy to do. You can make things look decent, like this door here, even though it's not perfect, even though it's not too scary, it gets the job done, and it's about as great as I can make it, I think. So it's gonna be pretty cool overall. So if you can't make everything perfect, just try and make it as best as you can, and then later on when you improve, you can get better and then even make your own game better. All right. Dreamy is the one working on the Doors 2 fan game. Oh, that Doors 2 fan game. Yeah, I'd say he's actually a really good builder. I've seen a few pictures of it so far, and it's actually looked really cool. I don't know about any of his other projects though, or if he does anything in like other styles. I'd have to look him up more, but I think he's definitely very, very cool. What you should do is when the player opens the door, the enemy that you're using in your game pops up for a split second for a jump scare. Oh, I feel like that's not very realistic, though. Maybe because if he jumps up and sees you at that point, I feel like he'd just want to kill you instead of just wandering away. But yeah, AI is still not completely good. Yeah. I mean, the more descriptive you are with it, the better of a material it's going to give you. So, yeah, and that was just 2 words like scary ceiling. It's not going to be very great. However, it's still not very great overall. By the way, I liked your collaboration with Screw from the challenge to make a game with no communication. That was cool. Thank you very much. That was a very fun challenge. And in fact, I was actually in the other one he made, the most recent one. However, my recording crashed right in the middle of it, and I couldn't record it again because I didn't have any more time, and it really kind of stunk. However, I was the one that made the cave map. They need to improve the AI, but are too lazy to train it. I don't know if that's the case. I think it's just maybe a bit too difficult, maybe. When it gets left the monsters near you, your screen gets more and more static and plays a static noise. If you're being chased, you get extra stamina. That'd be a good idea. Yo, can I get a picture with the rig? Sure. He is right here. I'll let you take any screenshot here. Um let me try not selecting anything. All right. Here you go. There's your canvas. You can take any picture that you want to. Why don't you make a simulator of working purchases? Make a short about that. Probably be good branding. It definitely would be. I'm not too great at making simulators though, so yeah. Why don't you make a? Oh, Rusty, will you do the sandy thing? I definitely want to do that. However, I don't know if I will. Where do you learn these? Um, Mainly, I just want to. Well, I don't want to, but I mainly just try and constantly improve myself as much as I can, however I can, and whether that be by learning or just constantly doing something, challenging yourself. That's how you really learn, and that's how you get better at everything. And that's what I would most likely recommend doing. It's like try and constantly uh, challenge yourself to become better. I have to go for like 10 minutes. Alrighty. Goodbye. I'll see you in about 10 minutes. What do you make entities that like if you mess with the rig or like staying next to the rig for 5 minutes, then like an entity pops up and kills you? For determining if a player's been in a certain place for 5 minutes, you'd probably have to use a thing called Region 3 service, which basically tells if something is inside of a certain region. Let's say I had this part right up here. I'm just going to make it slightly transparent. And let's say we had a player inside of this region right here. Then we could start a timer going down from 5 minutes, and which would be 300 seconds basically. And we check that if they're in this area for more than 300 seconds, then we can just spawn in an entity somewhere and then they can have them kill the player. That's what we would do in a very basic sense, something like that. I sent my friend a message and told him I got a picture of Rig. Very nice. Just made a game today mainly just for the practice. It's not very good. I'm sure it's very good, in fact. The more you practice, the more you'll learn. And even if the game that you're working on isn't too great at the moment, then like at least you learn from it. And that's what's so great about it. Like if you look at Pineapple Tycoon from a while ago, that was my second ever game technically. It was my first game that I actually put a lot into. And from that, from that game, I think I have improved quite a bit from there, and I'm still constantly learning. So I'd recommend that whatever practice you do get, I'd recommend just trying to keep on learning as much as you can. That's really my best advice I can give. The game looks so good, realistic, good job. Thank you very much. We still need to add the pipes on the ceiling, so I say we go ahead and do that. I was going to try scripting in Roblox, but I made like the most basic obby, and for some reason the flip and kill parts and the void stopped killing you. That is interesting. I'm not too sure why the void stopped killing you, but the kill parts might have some sort of error. Is this based on anything or just a horror game? I've gotten some inspiration from a game called Outlast. It's a horror game. It's not really based on anything real, I don't think. Any characters or locations associated with this are completely fictional in this sense, but if any of them do match up with anything real, I think that's completely coincidence. I thought it'd be better to hide in some spot 5 times in 10 seconds. If you do it, will unlock the door to the laptop. That'd be pretty cool. If I do it, I might not reveal how to do it on stream simply because I don't want people to do it on like the first day and learn how to do it. I might like show off the cutscene in a live stream or whatever, or in a video or something. But if I did do something like that, I wouldn't want to explain how I made the door open. If you know what I mean. I wouldn't want the secret to be ruined. Hey, Hoorzv, thank you for joining. Yes, it is based on an ASYLUM, but not an actual one. How did you learn how to script? When I first started learning code in general, I started with a programming language. Well, it's not a programming language, more of a coding language, but I started with a coding language called HTML. It's mainly used for websites. However, when I started on HTML, I recently found, well, not recently, but I found tutorials from a guy called Gnome Code, and he had some very great tutorials on Roblox. And I actually started learning scripting from him, and I just kind of fell in love with Roblox Studio simply because of how easy it was and how fun it was. And that was pretty much how I learned to script, simply from watching tutorials. But I tried to make my own projects and stuff, and that was pretty much how I learned. You kind of got to challenge yourself. Think of something that you don't think you can do, and then try and do it. Thank you, Rusty. You're such a good example and the reason I still script. Thank you very much. When will you continue the Tycoon series? I hope I'm continuing the Tycoon series as soon as I can. However, I'm still trying to figure out the rebirth system. So once we get back to that, I will go ahead and try to release that video. Hey, did you try Moon Animator before? I have tried Moon Animator before. However, I am not nearly very good at it at all. I prefer using the animation editor. However, I've heard that the Moon Animator has a ton of better options to it. Not really options, but a ton of better features and much more features. So, yeah. Gnome Code, yeah, Gnome Code's pretty cool. Didn't you interview Gnome Code? Yes, I did. That was probably one of my favorite videos I had ever made, interviewing Gnome Code. He is a very, very nice guy, incredibly full of knowledge, too. We had a great discussion on AI in Roblox Studio, and I think that was really, really, really cool, and I'm incredibly thankful for him. You should make a short that is like a player running through the room, then black screen, and after that you can see the player on the laptop clicking the game feels, and it ends when he clicks on it. Yep, we could definitely do that. I might do that with the actual cutscene at the end. That would be pretty cool. Row shaders will make this game perfect. Sad. Out all. Row shaders would make this game look epic. How do I make a GUI button if I pressed it increases your max health even if you die? I don't know if you can click on anything if your character dies. However, if you can probably just create a little text button that says script.parent.activated connect function, and then you have a little piece of code inside of there that says player.character.humanoid.health plus equals like 5 or something like that. And you can even do max health, I think, if you wanted to. Yo, my animation playing really bad, and if I played it like I'm running while punching, the run animation and punching animation all played at the same time. Well, I'm not too sure how to fix that. You may have to uh I'm not too great at animating like fighting stuff or scripting fighting stuff at all. If I had to imagine, you can probably. I know there's a way to stop the running animation, I think. I believe that's done inside of the animate script. Let me open this up real quick. I think there is a little line of code. It's somewhere around here. I forgot where it was exactly. No, I think it's down more. I don't know. This script is so complicated and so big. Let's see. Um. Oh yeah, clear any existing animation tracks. You can just use this line of code, I think, maybe somewhere inside of there, except not the track destroy, just the track stop. That might make it a little bit better. I don't know how well that would work or not. You'll have to let me know how it goes. I'm making a fantasy game with my friend. I'm so glad for that. I hope you guys will have a great development journey. Roblox, the strongest battleground, has really good anime battling. Yes, it definitely does. That's probably one of my favorite like combat systems, I mean. And then um I love the particle and VFX effects. If you know what I mean with those, they're just very, very cool. I'm gonna open up Blender real quick and I'm gonna toggle full screen. I'm gonna get rid of this exit sign real quick. And what I'm gonna do here is basically make a little pipe. I'm just gonna choose 16 vertices for this, rotate it a few degrees, go down a bit. And I think I'm going to, well, let's scale it out this way. And then I'm going to add in a few loop cuts like right here and here or so. I'm going to grab all of these faces and just come out a little bit to create a little bit of a kind of like a ring around it almost. And yeah, this I think no, in fact, I don't think we even need to use Blender for this. Let me just get out of window full screen real quick, drag it back over here. We can probably just use a cylinder. That is not a cylinder. This is a cylinder right here. Drag it up here, make it a little bit smaller. Drag it right up here, and then we can just move it all along here to the other side. Because by using a cylinder like this, I just moved it over a little bit. Then we can go ahead and just change the material. And then we can also change things like the color, all sorts of stuff. Move this up a bit. I want to change the color to maybe like a persimmon, maybe. Maybe not persimmon, maybe like a very, very dark persimmon. That looks about right. And then instead of smooth plastic, I think I'd change this to metal. I feel like that'd kind of fit it better, but now it's way too dark. So instead, I'm gonna make this a little bit brighter. Nah, it's a bit too bright now that I think about it. Gonna go down a bit more. All right, this is looking pretty good. We can scale this down now to create those little rings I was talking about. Like this, and then we can just make these very black like that, and then we can just kind of move these around everywhere. That extra added detail, sort of, just in kind of random intervals. That'll just make it look a little bit better. Yeah, something like that looks very, very cool in my opinion. Very, very nice. And then we pretty much just duplicate this, and then we move the rings around. That makes sense. So we just go to different areas, maybe I don't think we need to lower the pipes at all. But we just go over to the rings, maybe scoot them over a little bit, duplicate them, and just basically keep on moving them into different locations that don't seem to be the same as any other ones. And then we just keep on kind of going through that process. I meant how to do a GUI button that increases your max health, and when you die, your max health is still the same. Well, you could probably make a little function that whenever the player joins the game, well, you could set a value inside of the player, like insert a bool value into your leader stats or whatever, and so that you call that little int value, or it could be a number value even. You can rename it to like player max health, and then you have a script that says player. Well, yeah, you could actually probably do this inside of your leader stats script, where you just set the player's health whenever they join in to their max health value that's inside of the player, if that makes sense. That way you can just kind of have a max health value inside of the player that you can change very easily, and you can simply go about doing whatever you wanted to do with that GUI button pretty easily. Sorry if I sound distracted at the moment. I'm just trying to get these rings out of the way. Oh, I feel like I'm getting way too focused on these little pipes right here. Do you guys think we should make some of these pipes a different color or so? Maybe? Or maybe we should like remove the pipes, whatever it is. With the impact of AI in Roblox Studio video, yep, it was that exact video that we had with GNOME code. Could you make a leaking gas or water pipe? We definitely could do that. Make one of the jump scares a spider. Oh, yeah, kind of like Timothy the spider. We could. I feel like, yeah, I guess we could do that. It'd take some thinking to really get some of like all of the jump scares, but I think it'd be pretty cool. And a valve on the pipe. Oh, yeah, we could add those. I'd probably need to make the valve inside of Blender, make 3 pipes next to each other. That'd be a good idea. Yeah, the pipes being different colors would be the best. You're right. I'm gonna make this one more of a gray. I don't want to match too close to the ceiling and make this one a bit darker. That one can stay. Actually, no, we're gonna make this one maybe like an orangish. Yeah, that looks about right. Just like every other pipe or so could be a different color. Yeah, pipes being different colors would be the best. An Australian spider, that'd be pretty funny. Not funny, but cool. Make an intercepting pipe, make a 4-way pipe, crossing paths. I'll be back, got to go. Lots of good ideas. I'm going to add those like 3 pipes right next to each other, right over here inside of the corner. It'll be pretty evenly spaced apart. Maybe even closer to each other. Something like that. And then we can simply go about all the rings, if I can remember where I put them. And we just go about with all of these different rings everywhere. Just making sure no pipes are sticking out the back. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool if we had a valve on one of these pipes, maybe a few of these pipes, in fact, and have one of them kind of like just pumping out gas or water or something that just doesn't seem right for a pipe to pump out exactly. And I'm gonna mess with the colors of these, sort of making one a grayish color, making another one maybe like a blue color. There we go. So now we have all these different lights up ahead. Not lights, but pipes. Hey, Rusty, I have to go. If you're still streaming, I'll join back. I'm just going outside. Bye. Have a great time out there. Make a blue pipe and see if it looks cool. here is the blue pipe. In fact, it looks very cool. I actually really like it. Maybe make a broken pipe with some liquid spilling out. That would be pretty cool. I never would use grid sniping under like half a stud wall. I usually like using grid snapping under half a stud for very precise movements. I find it very useful for sometimes. Steam, yeah, steam coming out of a pipe. That would be also very cool. There's so many different like ideas we could have. I feel like there needs to be another pipe right here. We're gonna do another blue pipe, I think. That one looks like it'd be the best. Just gonna move this one a bit around, change the little rings everywhere, make sure we're going on the right axis. Alrighty. So here are our pipes on the ceiling. I'm gonna make probably another pipe right here, maybe two pipes next to each other. I'm gonna grab a gray one and I'm gonna make another one red, I think. Just like this, move it over, and then make this one kind of that same persimmon. That's not persimmon. Oh, actually, a white pipe looks pretty cool. I don't want it to be that white though. That's very, like, just too clean, I think. And all right, that looks pretty good. Now we can just move these rings throughout as usual. Just like that. Let's do it the same on this pipe now. Right. The ceiling is looking much better all of a sudden. In fact, it looks pretty cool. What textures are you using? At the moment, I'm using some textures from Polyhaven. That's a website that I like to go to for textures. It's got very realistic textures, and I like using those. Do you script? Yes, I do script. I actually really like to script. It's one of my favorite things to do in Roblox Studio. And now let's see if we can add some troffer lights maybe, but that's going to be right after a break. A little tiny break in the stream. I'll be right back. Why, hello, I am back after a short little break. Alrighty. What's like the hardest thing to learn subject-wise? The hardest thing I think to learn subject wise is probably scripting overall. I feel like scripting is probably the longest thing to learn, but hmm. Well, I feel like the Othello's motto can be applied to a ton of other skills in Roblox Studio, like building, the 5 minutes to learn, lifetime to master. Like, I mean, anybody can place down a part like this and then put down another part, maybe scale it differently, change the color stuff. It doesn't take that long to learn how to build, but it does take a long time to master it and to get really good at it. However, I think it's the same. Well, it's not the same with scripting simply because it takes much longer to learn. But once you learn it, you've pretty much almost already mastered it. I mean, there are always new things to learn and new things to do, but it doesn't take as long to master, really. I don't think I'm even at the master level yet. However, um, I hope to achieve that someday. To me, I feel like data store is hard and raycast, yet those are two very complex things, especially if the raycasts and the data stores are for like complex systems, like more than just making a gun or more than just saving cash on the player. I learned a code watching a YouTuber called Cyber Creator. I have heard of that guy. He is actually a very great resource to learn from, I think. How long have I been coding for? I've probably got, let's see, I think I made my very first game back in 2020. However, uh, hmm, I want to say 3 years now, maybe 2.5 or so. But I wasn't scripting the whole time. I've probably only got about 2 years in scripting experience overall. But yeah. Let's see, what can we add? I'm just thinking of making those little troffer lights, which are the hanging down lights that you see all over the place, mostly in like stores and stuff. So let's get right into that. I'm gonna insert a cube right here, go down. Let's scale this, and then gonna grab this thing right here. We're going to inset the face like this, kind of, and also a little bit on the Y, and just go in. That isn't going to work. I think I want to grab these two lines and then go up, and then we can grab the face and go up, sort of like that. And this will be the little place where the lights will kind of hang out. And then we can kind of add a cylinder like this. And then let's just scale it out on the y-axis till it reaches the ends. Something like this. And that's looking pretty cool. And then we can do, I think, just to make these a bit thicker, let's scale this one up as well. And then we can shade auto smooth this. That's a bit more, not flat, but I guess smooth, you could say. And then we have our little troffer lights. I know normally troffer lights are kind of like they have this little face right here that kind of glows up. However, I kind of want to use these two cylinders instead. Now we can probably just add in a little bevel on the sides here for a little bit of effect. Something like that. Shade auto smooth. That looks about right. And then let's go ahead and grab these faces, I think. Probably not all of them. Yeah, never mind. We're gonna do that. Honestly, frankly, I think these are pretty good for trapper lights so far. We can probably, yeah, let's just, yeah, I'm just gonna bring these into the studio now. I don't think there's really much else that can be done with them, so I'm just going to go ahead and save them real quick, export, and bring these into Roblox Studio. I'm going to name them to Troffer Light. Export FBX. Let's go ahead and import these now. The Troffer Light. Alright, hello, I just tuned into the stream, and what is the game going to be about? I know it's an asylum, but like theme, like puzzle, horror, etc. It's going to be a horror game, and it's going to be probably puzzle and horror, really. The map is an asylum, but the whole idea really is going to be around the whole like puzzling thing, and you got to escape probably before you end up unfortunately dying, maybe. I'm just gonna raise these up. Let's see if it would look better like on the ceiling or if it would look better hanging from the ceiling. That's what I want to know. Hello, Rusty. I'm back, but I'm gonna head out and sleep. All right. Thank you for joining today. Have a great night. I wanted to learn how to script back in 2016 when I was in 6th grade. I was when I wanted to make a Pixel Gun 3D game. Now I'm in 12th grade and I started coding back in September. It's a really cool journey. It definitely is amazing. I personally love to code. It's one of my favorite things to do. And yes, I hope it continues being very great for you as well. This one I'm going to name to Light 1. This one I'm going to rename to oops. Yeah, light 1 and then light 2, just like that. And this is going to be the back, I think. And then we can change this to metal. All right, this isn't too bad too far. It's not too bad just yet, I mean to say. Let's see. We can probably change the material of these down to metal and then make them institutional white. There's something I want to see as well, is whether this works. Nope, that does not work. There's one thing I learned a while ago, where if you just increase these values to more than 255, then it'll make them like a neon, but that does not seem to work, so instead we're just going to make them neon. And then yeah, we want some sort of bloom on them, just like that. I feel like that would be pretty cool. Although I just kind of wish these would look more almost grimy, maybe dirty even. Let's see. Maybe making them like a greenish yellowish kind of light would look better. I don't know. I'm going to group these all together. Gonna rename it to Troffer Light. Oops. Keep on accidentally opening up absolutely everything in the workspace. All right, let's rename this one to Troffer Light. And then inside of light 1, we're going to add in a point light. And we can do the same thing inside of light 2. I'm going to change the properties of these both to a sort of greenish color. Maybe not a greenish, but more of a grime. Then we can change the range to something like 12 and make sure that shadows is on for that extra bit of realism. All right. Maybe when you go on the computer and try to reveal the secrets, the monster appears behind you and does like a kill animation and the game ends. That'd be a cool idea, but, well, yeah, that'd be probably more horrifying than just getting like banned or something from the game. Well, not actually banned, but fake banned, if that makes sense. What is like the hardest thing to learn in coding? The hardest thing to learn is, I'd probably say, well, there are many different coding languages. I assume you're talking about Roblox Studio though, so I would say probably data stores are probably the hardest thing to learn, simply because of how complex they are and how much goes into them. But they can be learned. Are you using future lighting? Yes, I am. Say bread if you see this. Bread. For me, it was ifs, else statements. Those things are pretty tricky. They use a lot of logic to them, so they can be difficult to learn. Oh my gosh, I love horror games. It's gonna be epic. Yeah, make it yellow, kind of maybe a particle emitter, simulate the light particle thingy. That is an absolutely great idea. I completely forgot about particle emitters, so we're going to do that. The let's see, emission direction out the bottom like that. I'm gonna change the size to like 0.1. Create these little dust particles, and then you want to change the lifetime down to about 0.25, maybe even 0.5. You want to change the transparency to a sequence so that eventually those kind of fade out instead of disappearing entirely. We can change the light emission to like 1 and the light influence to 0. Actually, probably to 1 as well. We want to change the rotation. Doesn't really matter for that, but we can change the rotation speed. The speed is probably going to go down to like 0.4, maybe 0.5 even. And then we can even change the lifetime up a bit so they go a bit farther. And as you can see, it's kind of like simulates dust particles kind of floating around. And I want to change the rate down to like 10, maybe even 5. I can change the spread angle to about 5 maybe. Will the map be bigger because the current map plan image seems small? The map currently at the moment is subject to change. Let me pull it up at the moment. It does seem kind of small, but then again, this is just the first floor. And like as I said, there's going to be a basement and maybe a second floor as well. So it probably is going to be much bigger. And it's still subject to change a lot. Like I don't even know if the lobby is going to be really big or if just going to be a small normal room or whatever, but we still have lots of things to go over with that. Also, will you be adding like DLC? I'm not too sure about DLC for this game. I'm not too sure what we would add to it really, but we could definitely do something with it. That acceleration is a bit too much, so I'm not going to add it. And in fact, the speed could probably change down a little bit more. Right? That's looking pretty good. I'm going to add this one to the other one as well. So now we've got kind of that little dust effect, which is pretty cool. Makes it look a bit more realistic. I'm back. Hello, Camilo Arduna. I'm glad your outside expedition was fun. Hey, I just finished the game. I'm glad that you did. Very nice. All right. Gonna move this over a little bit. Something like right here, maybe. Let's duplicate it again. Move it over. And then move it over again. Center these. All right. I don't know if we should have these kind of like, I don't know if we should have the pipe going to the side of them, maybe on the corner of them, or if you just have them in between the pipes, maybe. I feel like in between the pipes is probably the most realistic. However, I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure how many of these lights should be working or not, simply because it is supposed to be scary. And I don't know if these should be over like by the side or not, if it should be uneven, whatever. Do you guys kind of like it uneven, or should everything be perfectly centered? Golden Plague DLC in Roblox, just like Bible Game Pass, basically gives you content. Yep, it's DLC is downloadable content normally in other games, usually on like game consoles and everything. Um, it's basically something you buy that adds more to the game. Man, if you touch a button, it makes a dropper spawn. Work for $0 doesn't work. Uh, I'm not too sure what is wrong with your dropper button. Let's see. I think the stream is getting more and more delayed as time goes on. I think I'm gonna move this pipe though over a little bit so we can put this light in the center. I feel like overall it'd make everything just look so much better if everything was centered, and it also wouldn't annoy me so much. So I'm gonna move this over to here maybe, and then we can have these right here in the center, close to the center as we can, something like that. And then the blue light, not light, but the blue pipe right here is gonna have to move just as the other gray one did. Alrighty. And I've got the whole pipe selected. Let's just go ahead and move it over. Well, this one is roughly that far off the wall. This one needs to be moved over here a little bit. So like these can be moved over. And these need to be like right here now. All right, I think that looks so much more centered, and now it looks so much better even. I'm gonna go ahead and disable some of these. So like where the brick color is going to be kind of dead even, and it's going to be metal instead. There's going to be no particle emitter and no point light, kind of like that. And you can probably make it a little bit lighter, something like that, where it's not like so perfect all the time. This one is going to be completely dead even. Just going to copy the color and then make this to a metal. Because having it being scary means nothing is perfect, and having an old environment means barely anything is going to work anymore, really. So we want to make sure that everything is as realistic as possible in this environment. So whether that be just taking out one light, maybe two lights, not like every light, but we do want to make it pretty realistic, and we don't want to make it so scary. And that is going to be also deleting the point lights inside of them. This one I want to be entirely gone. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's delete all of the point lights and everything. And then let's go ahead and get rid of this one. All right. This will give us plenty of variation inside of our lights as well. So that is a pretty good thing. And now we only have a few working lights left. When we turn on the cast shadow back over our window right here, I think we're definitely going to have to mess with the lighting a lot. It's going to have a lot to do with it, but overall, I think we're actually pretty good for this little starting map. I think it's time to add some more of this little dirt on the walls, and then go through and also add in all of these decorations again. I think that'd be pretty cool. We've got the door taken care of. I think it doesn't look too bad. We've got the pipes on the ceilings, the troffer lights. Everything is looking very, very nice. All right. What's up? I'm back. Sorry, sorry, Cyan. We restarting your channel. Hello. All right. Don't you just love it when you're coding, your script doesn't work, you spend like 15 minutes trying to figure out why it isn't working just to see you accidentally put a capital instead of lowercase? I get that feeling all the time. In fact, one of my favorite quotes is programming is 10% writing code and 90% wondering why. Well, I forgot what the quote is exactly. Oh yeah, it's programming is 10% writing code and 90% understanding why it's not working. That is the most true statement that I've ever seen before, well, ever heard before in my life. What I'm going to do now is go over a lot of these little decals right here on the walls. Pretty much just apply them everywhere into places that I think they need applying to. just to give some extra like uncleansingness to some of the walls here. Make it look a little bit more disgusting, kind of just giving some a little bit of a rotate every now and then. You know, making sure nothing is necessarily perfect. Because perfect is not realistic. Just a little bit more. Right about there. We can just do several of these almost everywhere, really. I don't really want to stick them on the windows necessarily because it doesn't really make too much sense. But we can do it on the normal wall. Just getting rid of one of these. And then fixing it a little bit. Why this one has a fart inside of it. But okay. Now we are back with whatever we are doing. Okay. Let me just try and fix this wall. All right. So how did you make the lights? I just went into Blender real quick and made some of these lights real quick. They're not too great overall, but they do get the job done. And when the lighting's complete, then no one's gonna really figure it out. Well, no, they're gonna figure it out, but they're not gonna know how bad they really are. Alrighty. I'm just gonna kind of make sure everything's staying organized. All right, hello, I'm new here. I'd like to know, what is this game? This game is going to be a horror game about an asylum where you wake up in the middle of this asylum and you've got to find some way to escape. There's going to be a little monster that's going to be chasing after you. It's going to be pretty scary, pretty frightening, and overall a pretty terrifying experience. However, it's going to be very, very fun. So I've been doing some commissions here recently. I really like it. It teaches me what I'm doing at the same time I'm making money. That is a great way of thinking about it. Commissions are a great way for practice. It also helps you to learn like social skills, speaking with people, um, learning how to communicate frequently, especially with your boss. And those are great skills to learn. I think I'm going to start grabbing some of these extra decals now and bringing them inside. If you're wondering why this box seems to have extra parts or a little hitbox, that's because I scripted them to be able so that the player can hide under the bed if need be. I still need to make a little animation for it. However, it's got the basics of it done. And I probably won't make it so that the player can hide in every bed, just a few of the beds. And I want to make sure that they are pretty cool. And you want to make sure not all of them are like completely perfect because they are in a really old asylum. So we're really just going to be kind of going through, adding inconsistencies to them, kind of moving them around, maybe have some being a little tipped over, some being not functional. Maybe a few of them could be perfect. Not really many though. I think I'm probably gonna, this one can be right here. But then I'm also going to make a bed that's got nothing inside of it. It's just a normal bed. And it's going to be tipped over on its side. Maybe something like this. I don't want it to be completely straight up because it is going to be it's going to have to be like resting on the side here, whatever, in order for it to balance completely. But we want a few of them to be kind of imperfect, if that makes sense. Kind of almost thrown about everywhere. The least perfect something is, the better it is sometimes, I think, for certain things. Just going to move this out a bit. Move this one a little bit out. Maybe a little bit in. This one, it could probably be moved a little bit over, a little bit out. Something like that. We're going to add a few more of these beds, kind of tipped over everywhere. This one's going to kind of be in the corner, I think. Something like that. We could have one being like upside down, even. That could be pretty cool. Just kind of like everywhere. We just kind of put all these beds at. All right. The bed looks so cool. Thank you very much. What's your favorite game genre to make and why? My favorite game genre to make so far has probably honestly been this horror game. It's been an absolutely amazing experience so far, and I personally love it simply because I do like rising up to the challenge of making a realistic horror game. And I just think overall it's just been incredibly fun. And, um, well, yeah, I think this horror game's probably been my most favorite one. However, if I had to pick a second favorite one, it'd definitely be Tycoons. Tycoons are really easy to make, and so you can get them out really quickly. And I think overall, they're just a very fun thing to work on. They're almost relaxing, just with how easy they are to make, sort of, and like how fast you can get them out, really. And how easy they are to make is another kind of like reassuring factor of the fact that, like, yes, you can build this tycoon. It's gonna probably be like really easy. You can actually do this. And I think that's pretty cool as well. Whoa, something's going on with this bed. Alright. It's going to keep on moving some of these beds around. Something like this. Oh, wait, I won't be able to do that. So how these beds work is I have a little part inside of them right here that the player will basically tween to inside of that. So I think that's pretty cool. And they'll kind of just like kind of sink down under the bed, and yeah. Also means I can't have a table right there, but I should be able to have one right here. Something like that. All right. So I want to leave the middle walkway mostly left open. However, there probably is going to be like a mattress on the floor or something, or there's going to be like dirt everywhere. And you can probably add like a few of these pots in there as well. Like a little pot on the table, a little pot right here, a little pot on this table, a little pot over here in the corner. And you can never really have too many pots. Maybe just one like right here in the middle of the floor, because why not? Maybe another one. You can have another one right here behind the bed. Something like this. And overall, that is pretty cool, I think. The next thing that I kind of want to make in Blender are going to be like the mattresses for here. Um, Probably just a few more designs, maybe like some dirt to put everywhere. I want to have some trash somewhere, maybe some broken glass, stuff like that, a few more things. And then later on, we're going to continue down this way, creating the rest of the whole asylum, and it's going to be amazing. The whole thing is going to look so cool when it's done. I can't wait for it. I do kind of want to wait. Well, not wait, but I do want to see what it looks like with all the lighting we have so far. So let's go ahead and add this in. And well, that is very dark. Let's click on play here real quick. I can't wait to see the monster design. Me too. Oh, well, we forgot to anchor a lot of things. Okay. First things first. Let's go ahead and anchor all of these parts right here, including these unions, including the exit sign, and every single troffer light. Make sure this whole room is anchored even. Let me see what isn't anchored. It's the trash cans that aren't anchored. And it's the walls that aren't anchored. Just want to make sure we anchor everything so that nothing falls apart. And now everything should be anchored. Click on play here, make sure everything doesn't fall apart again. All right, everything looks great so far. Let me turn on my flashlight, look around. You can see all the walls. You can't really see the pipes on the ceiling, but that's okay. I might turn the bloom down a little bit simply because that is very, very bloomy. That makes sense. But overall, this looks really cool so far. I might make it so that you can actually like see your flashlight on the ground simply because this is very annoying to not really see where I'm stepping. But other than that, it looks amazing. You can see the different colored pipes up there. All right, let's go over here. Oh, the exit sign and the door looks so cool. The door does look kind of out of proportionate though. Wonder if we should make it a little bit smaller maybe. Oh wow, let's turn on night vision. This looks really cool as well. Holy cow. So far this game, not this game, but well, I guess it is the game, but this build looks so epic. And it's going to look so much better in the future. Holy cow. Anyways, guys, I think this is where I'm going to end off today's live stream. This is one of my, well, this is probably one of my favorite live streams so far, simply because of the progress we got done, the questions that we answered. There's so many things that we had fun with. And I think that overall, this is just incredible. Simply just the amount of progress that we've made today has been insane. And so, yeah, I'm kind of almost speechless, in fact, with how good this is coming out so far. So, just wow. This is insane. I can't wait for like the other rooms to be done. It'd be so, well, it'd not be fun. It'd be so scary to travel around this asylum, especially at nighttime, but I feel like it's just wow. I'm at a loss for words right now, in all honesty. All right, that's enough for this game. Well, not this game, but wow. I'm gonna change the lighting at the moment. Put that back. Wow. All right, anyways, guys, I think that's where I'm gonna end off the live stream for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this live stream just as much as I did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below. And make sure you leave your thoughts on this room down there too, because I think it personally looks amazing. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video just as much as I did. Goodbye.